Grace and peace, y'all. Give me a couple of seconds. I think I'm on. Just want to do me a favor, type 1 down in there if y'all hear me. I want to make sure let me go on this other thing, and I think I can see myself here better. I'm trying to just get set up. Y'all know how I am. I'm not going to be on here long. I just want to put this thing. I want to put this thing out here and try to answer 2 of these questions. 2 or 3 of these questions. I think some people need to stop worried about what others think. I could be preaching to the choir right now. Let me make sure I got this right number down here. 3175. Okay, I think I got it right. Let me just slide this thing up right here. I'm gonna give y'all a couple of minutes. Des, I'm gonna tell you right now, I got everybody hitting me. All right, Mr. Mighty, what's good? Grace and peace. Listen, they done hit me with a couple of things. They want to talk about that boule. I said I'm gonna answer a little bit about that boule and that other stuff, but Tiffany Haddish got some Netflix special. Tiffany Haddish, a Hebrew, Berean. What y'all got to say about who got to say about it? What the church got to say about that? Well, I'm not speaking for the whole church, but I'm gonna tell y'all what, y'all better leave them church folk alone. Them church folk ain't thinking about y'all, but they brought up the whole thing. Grace and peace, Phoenix. They brought up the whole thing with Tiffany Haddish and DNA. Tiffany Haddish, DNA, and I guess they basically want to let us know that more and more people are taking this DNA thing. She said she did it a while ago. I'm surprised. My man did mention it, and I'm surprised that Elder Harris said he did his, but I think he said he did it. If I'm correct, if this coffee don't got me going, he said he did his before Sister E did hers. Shout out to Sister E. I ain't talked to her in a couple of days. I might hit her. Let me see if she jump on here. But Tiffany Haddish being a Hebrew, that's what I'm gonna talk about for a couple of seconds. Tally, that's what I'm gonna talk about. She said she's Jewish. But I saw her on the night show after I got that link, and I started looking through some other stuff. And she said her Hebrew roots. Apparently, her father's down with the Ethiopian Hebrews, the Ethiopian Israelites, and y'all know they go back. They go back to the before Bob Marley and them. They go back in the days when we dealing with Mega Ebbets and all of that stuff. If you read the book, The Glory of the Kings of Ethiopia, it talks about Haile Selassie's people, Haile Selassie being 225th descendant of David and the Queen of Sheba. The Bible does not say that David and the Queen of Sheba had a baby, but there's a tradition that's connected with the Queen of Sheba, and many people believe that the Ark of the Covenant went to Ethiopia because the Bible do say that the Queen of Sheba went to visit Solomon. And when she went to get there, there's another book that tells us some behind the scenes stuff that Solomon tried to seduce her. And he said, well, don't steal anything from me. And she was like, what are you talking about? I'm coming here with plenty of bread. I'm coming here to hit you off and, to talk with you or whatever. But he had some dates or raisins on the table and they were salty. And he had a cup of water. He said, well, you can have those dates. And she started eating them. And then she automatically got thirsty and drank the water. And he said, I didn't say you can have that. So that's kind of how he seduced her. I told you don't take anything from me. So if I remember the story, it's been a minute. So y'all, it's been a minute. Y'all see how I got my church shirt on. One day y'all gonna see me with a white collar on again. This is the same shirt I used to rock out in the pulpit. But he ended up seducing her and getting her pregnant. She went away and she said she was pregnant. He gave her a special ring. There's always been a tradition in the occult with Solomon and rings, and we're going to talk about that because of Ra Moses in here. Grace and peace, Sister T, to the Foster. Didn't see you in a minute. If Rob Moses in here, I might go into that ring and chop it up with y'all about that ring and the occult and traditions with Solomon. All right, wait a minute. He said, what do you say? Y'all can't see me? Hold on a minute. All right, y'all can see me. Y'all can see me, right? Just type 1 down there if y'all can see me. All right. So dealing with Solomon. So he ended up giving her a ring, and she went away and she was pregnant. And when a son was born, when the son was 21 years old, he went back to Solomon. He went back to Solomon so he can learn about the God of his father, the God of Israel. And when he got back there, he Solomon said, I'm going to give you some Levites and I'm going to give you a replica of the Ark of the Covenant. So his son was like, all right, and I'm going to send you back with some Levites so we can set up the religion of your father over there. Now, remember, later on, there was a connection because later on, I'm telling y'all this story and the glory of the kings of Ethiopia, which is a book, the Ethiopian church, Rastafarians, the dreadlocks, a lot of people in that part of Africa, they recognize it kind of like we would call it Apocrypha. We don't say it's on the same level as the book of Kings, as the Old Testament, but it has history that attempts to fill in some stuff that's not stated in the Bible. Now, people would try to say that's just like the Harem of Biff story with the building of Solomon's temple and Freemasonry, but we look at it differently. And I'm going to explain to y'all why we look at it differently. Rob Moses, you hear, I'm going to talk about Melchizedek. We're going to go in a little bit. And my man and them, if they don't hit me, we're going to go in. I said I'm going to be on here 10 minutes with y'all. So the son said, all right, I'm going to go back and I'm going to deal with, he said he's going to deal with the religion. I put that link in there. I'm put another one in there if y'all want to put $1 in the plate. So he turned around and he takes the real Ark of the Covenant and leave, and Solomon is upset. And he said, the glory of the Lord has left, because y'all remember what was inside the Ark. Tell me what was in that Ark, Des. Days are nowhere here. Somebody know what was inside that Ark. Inside the Ark, and the Ark was also symbolic of carrying, or the glory of God was with the Ark, and it was a certain way you had to handle the Ark. But his son amped the Levites in them, let's take this Ark and let's get out of here before my father wake up. And he broke out with the real Ark. He wasn't upset. They said Solomon was a little mad, but he wasn't that upset. That's my son. And he left, in the glory, according to that tradition, the glory of the Lord have left Israel and went to Ethiopia. But those are Israelites over there. And that's Solomon's seed over there, and those are Israelites. The commandments were in the Ark. Thank you, LeChat. I need somebody to go up in here. Thank you. And that's right. That what was in the Ark. So all of a sudden, the Ark is gone. It's interesting now. Some people have argued. It's interesting. All of a sudden, after you start reading certain portions of the scripture, the Ark just disappears. Israelites never say what happened to the Ark. Archaeology, all type of other people start saying it's rumored that Lolly Bellum and them folk over there in Ethiopia been saying that they had the Ark. So the Jews stopped saying where the Ark was. By the time Christ come on the scene, nobody's talking about the Ark. But there was already a tradition that the Ark was already gone. Maybe I'll get into Leonard Howell and the Rastafarians before they had dreads. I'm going way back to the beginning of the movement and how they had a connection together with the Queen of Sheba. And they thought, some people could say, well, that's not Bible. But from the beginning, we have to say, even when we start dealing with that whole airlifting of, or what they call Operation Moses, European rabbis from the gate, they were attempting to airlift Ethiopian Jews back to Israel. I'm talking about back in the days. This was going on back in the days, and I'm going to try to bring up a video with Dr. Ben arguing with the rabbi, because when a lot of Jews got over there, the Ethiopians, their Judaism was so ancient, a lot of the Jews didn't recognize certain things that they practiced, so they wanted to question them. They wanted them to drop their pants. They wanted to watch, circumcision. That was a big thing, and we talked about circumcision before. That was a heavy thing back in the days. It was paganism. Then it came down. All Jews from the beginning, all Israelites began to know that circumcision was locked into the promise. Now, during the Maccabean period, after Alexander, generals and them took over, they tried to force the Jews out of circumcision. So a lot of Jews fell back from circumcision, and those that were circumcised, they were trying to hide the fact that they were circumcised because of the Greeks, because of certain things that were going on. But eventually circumcision picked back up and it started jumping for a while. So they said that the glory went to Ethiopia, and that's part of the problem, where a lot of people start having traditions that's not in the Bible. Now, why don't we see what happened to the glory? Why don't we see what happened to the Ark? Arguing from silence, some people would say, inside the Bible. That's the beef, Mike. Sure, some people would say, there's a problem right there. We could be having a problem. Let me put this text out here in case my man and them want to jump on. And plus they can help control me, because I'm going to tell y'all some other stuff. I'm going to tell y'all some stuff that's not in the Bible, but a lot of people believe. The reason I'm going to share this stuff with you is because of all of this. Tiffany Haddish stuff, all of this Hebrew Israelite stuff, all of this DNA stuff coming up. DNA was used, especially in its earlier times, DNA was used primarily because European Jews were chasing ancestry. This ain't to disrespect nobody. When we start dealing with Jerusalem, when we start dealing with Hitler, when we start dealing with certain things. Now, I'm going to go back to this story, but I want to take y'all to some things that Moses always get up in here and say. Moses always get up in here and talk about the order of Melchizedek. Now, Acts 7:22, Mike Shaw. Now, I don't need nobody go running telling them about Berean in there wilding out. I'm telling y'all history, and I'm going to give y'all some of the history. I'm not saying anything new. It might be new to what you have heard today, but I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Now, if I was down with apologetic, I could say all this stuff, so I feel a little freedom, and I'm getting ready to wild out. Where did Moses learn from? I'm going to start off like that so they won't say I'm trying to give y'all new doctrine. Look, chat. Acts 7:22, your own book. King James, that was a black man. That's what y'all told me. Acts 7:22, Desmond, Days of Noah says Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. But where did Moses learn from? If he learned from anywhere, was he on the mountain for those days and God spoke to him for those days and Joshua was there, and then when he came back down, the folk was naked and Hathor was naked and dancing and stripping and jumping because they amped Aaron into making Hathor the Egyptian goddess, and they started dancing and partying. Then when Moses came down off the mountain, he was shocked that these folk then went crazy. Did he learn in 40 days up in the mountain? If some people believe that, did he learn certain things from up there and then he came down with those things? Did he learn in Egypt? Acts 7:22, did he learn in Egypt, or did he learn from the Midianites? The Kenites, the Midianites, Moses' father-in-law, who made sacrifice to the Most High God, who was a priest of Midian. I'm gonna take you where the bishop and them. The bishops have been into the lodge. I'm going to take you to where there's other people that's involved in other orders, and why Moses, you would hear people like Moses. I like LeChat. LeChat said all of the above. Moses turned around and Moses talked about the order of Melchizedek. Now, we only see 3 times in writ. Genesis, I think, is 14, when Melchizedek ran down on Abraham after battle, and Abraham tithed him, and he was the priest of Salem. We're going to talk about the Jebusites. We're going to talk about Jerusalem. Who were the Jebusites that dwelt in Jerusalem? But whoever he was, Melchizedek was a priest of the Most High God, the 110 Psalms and the book of Hebrews. Anything that we get outside of that, we have to get from tradition outside of the Bible. We have to get, so when we say we sola scriptura des, I want to make sure y'all saying when y'all scripture only, that y'all really scripture only, or y'all scripture only when y'all want to beat the Catholics in the head. I'm sorry, everybody's going to get it today. We got to be careful when we start running around saying certain things. This guy, whoever this guy was a Midianite, and he was a priest of the Most High God, but if you trace his descendants, he was connected to Abraham. So some people feel that Abraham received the tradition and some holy teachings from somebody called Melchizedek. Abraham knew to preach to him. A lot of times we make it easy to say Melchizedek was a type of Christ, a theophany, a Christophany. You can get online, you can read commentaries, they're going to give you a rundown with a bunch of theories on why they believe what they believe. But we're going to go in further. Because when we start looking at Moses, and y'all know the story, Moses killed the Hebrew. Moses, there was a UFEP warrant out for his arrest. Unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. He slid, he had a warrant out. He slid from Egypt because he killed the person for hurting a Hebrew person. Now, Moses he grew up in the house with the Pharaoh and the Pharaoh daughter, according to our written tradition in the book. So he didn't really grow up hearing too much. Some people would say learning the mysteries of Egypt, learning the hieroglyph Metu Netta, learning all of the stuff about the Egyptian gods, maybe. The Bible says he was learned in their wisdom. The Bible says he was learned in it. The Bible thumpers don't like that. The devil's a liar. God was protecting his mind. Is that what y'all say? It's okay. And if you want to believe that, that's good. But I'm giving y'all what the text is saying, and then I'm going to give y'all what other people are saying. He had to go away and learn for 40 years, and 40 is just a number of completion. 40 days. Remember, he left at 40. He stayed away for 40, and then he came back 40. Why is it broke down into 40, 40, 40, 40? Moses, where you at? Because if you go there, I'm going to share something with you. So for those 40, he was learning of the traditions of the Hebrews. I like something Pastor Major said the other day. Pastor Major said that God, the Most High, was speaking before Israel was a nation. The Most High God was speaking to other people. Could it be some people that believe in the Melchizedek order? Could it be that Jethro, Ruel, what's his other name? Put his other name in there. Put his other name in there, Mike Shaw. He went by two names if we look at Exodus and we 28, if we look at Exodus 3 or Exodus 2 and 31. He got a different name, Ruel Jethro. Jethro was a priest, and Jethro prayed and he made sacrifices. Now, if Moses is leading out Israel, and Moses is the prophet, and Aaron, his sister and brother, and them are there in the ministry, and Miriam is a prophetess, why would this Midianite priest make sacrifices to the high God unless he already knew about him? And could it be that he trained Moses for those years that Moses was married to his daughter and away? Could it be that he trained him about stuff about the God that he is going to serve? Could it? I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm not saying that's what it is. But this is what some people feel. Don't go run telling them Berea teaching another doctor. This is what some people feel. And that's why he had to go away, because he spent that time away. I would ask the question, why in the world would Moses let him lead in prayer if he's a pagan priest? That wouldn't be sound of Moses and Aaron and Miriam. Moses that know the Most High God. Moses that just left doing all those miracles with the Egyptians and Egyptian mystics. I couldn't say that Moses would let Jethro, if Jethro was a devil worshiper. I couldn't believe that Moses would let him lead all of Israel in prayer. And then he turned around and he gave him advice. He said, listen, the people are too much. He said, break them down. He said, get 70 elders. And he prayed and he put a spirit on top of those elders. So then the tradition of the 70 came down, Desmond. The tradition of the 70 came down. That's how we get the Septuagint. We start seeing the 70 or the 72 translating it. So years later, during the intertestamental period, they still kept the 70 because he told Moses from his wisdom. From a wisdom that he gave him and direction and understanding that he gave him, he turned around and he said, listen, man, the people, it's too much that you're hearing all the matter of all of Israel, breaking the people down so they can come and hear the matters and you can focus on more important things. Oh, Joe, daughter, we in the book, but we're around the book too, and we're just trying to figure. Thank you so much, LeChat. I appreciate you. Thank you, Ruel and Jethro, same person, a priest of Midian. So much so that when Moses was going to go, he wanted them, he said, y'all come and y'all be our eyes and our ears. What is he saying? Y'all come and y'all be, he begged them basically. He said, come be our eyes and our ears. Lead us in this thing. We just coming out here, but lead us in this. Could it be that there were another people that knew God on the planet? Because the way we read the story growing up in Sunday school, nobody knew God. God appeared to Moses. The whole planet is in darkness. And this is where, remember, I'm going to connect y'all with some Ethiopian thing. Because Ethiopians and certain people that were disconnected from European oppressors, that's how come people got to keep their eye on the Ethiopian Jew. And could it be that some people don't want y'all to make connections with certain things? All right, Leonard Howell and the Rastafarians were a little bit crazy. They slid near the 151st Psalms and some other stuff that we don't know about over here. But I'm not so quick to call them the devil. I'm going to go on with the story. So now, Moses got his father-in-law, because remember, even when God was upset with Moses, I need Callie to help me right here. Even when God was upset with Moses about the circumcision, how Moses' wife know to grab the knife and circumcise the kid? How Moses' wife know how to circumcise? These are just questions that them people be bothering me with. I'm like, oh, Bishop, you got a good point right there. Oh, y'all going in right now. But they're involved in, they read other books. They involved in some other stuff. So he just say, I'm gonna give you something to make you think. Maybe I hope I'm not doing to y'all what they do to me, because they mystics. But I think that's a fair question. Is that a fair question? Is that a fair question, Mike Shaw? I'm wondering if that's a fair question. How did Moses' wife know how to circumcise? We just read the Bible and just be crazy reading the book and running through the book. But there's some questions, there's some stop and go stuff we need to be doing in this book. Wait a minute, she already knew how to, if nobody was already, wait, we got to figure this out. And remember, y'all said his wife was an outsider. If she wasn't an Israelite, let me see. That's the link, brother. If she was an outsider, how would she know about circumcision? Now I'm going to tell you later on that there was a different esoteric cult. I think I wrote that down. I might have that written down. There was a different esoteric cult later on that came down that mixed among even Muhammad people and Sufism later on. But they taught an esoteric order from the beginning, and they said that were the righteous. This were teachings that the righteous sons of God gave special people. People that maybe Melchizedek was running with, some other holy people, and they handed it down to certain priests. And it spread in different places where people were called the Arabian Peninsula or among the Cushites and different people, but they were not Israelites. But they said that they had the teachings of the high spirit, the great God, the eternal one. Could it be that other people? Could it be that other people besides Moses? Could it be that somebody else knew about God on the whole planet? Not saying we had 7.8 billion people like we do right now on the planet, but could it be that some other teachings were going around and those teachings came from the high God? You see, one of the problems that I got with some of my people is they come and they want to argue down Israelites, but because they're acting like they know everything that God doing in the Bible. I've run into Israelite thumpers too, and they act like they know everything God doing, and God hate the church, and then the church saying God hate them Israelites, and everybody hating everybody. But we're moving from a position like we know everything God is doing. I'm not sure. I ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm not sure, country boy, that I could read that Bible and say I know everything God is doing in the earth. God is doing in the whole entire universe. I gotta be careful the way I'm moving with. I think people doing too much with the book. I think people doing too much with the book, and these things can be a problem. And these things can be a problem. So I wanted to bring some of that. I wanted to bring some of that stuff out. Now, if there was a secret order, and there are pastors that believe in some order of Melchizedek, that there was some righteous order that was coming down, and get this, one of the problems is they want to say, would God have an order outside of the Levitical priesthood? Did God ever have an order outside of the Levitical priesthood? Was that originally the plan, or was that the plan for when he's dealing with Israel, and then later on he's not even dealing with that? Because there's things that's established even if God's not moving in it. When Jesus came on the scene, the rulers were the Sadducees and the Pharisees were the rulers. After the temple was destroyed, we got Judaism that came after the temple was destroyed, one between 70, and then after the whole wars, 132, 135, and we start seeing more and more synagogues around, and it turned into rabbinic Judaism, or what they would call it later on. God was already moving, and God started doing some stuff. God started doing the work outside of religion, outside of what the Pharisees and the Sadducees had. Not saying Nicodemus wasn't saved, not saying Paul wasn't saved. So I'm not saying there were no Pharisees that were saved, but a lot of times when God starts moving, God will get to moving, and he don't have to let T.D. Jakes know what he's doing. That's the thing. A lot of us get caught up in the T.D. Jakes and TBN, and if I ain't heard that from Jakes, I don't accept it. No, I don't move. I don't study the book like that. No. God could be doing some stuff outside of what all the Pharisees, all of the bishops, all of the head of the Kojic, all of the head. He could be. Not saying he's doing that and he hates those organizations, but he could be moving outside of what they know about in a Kojic conference. He could be. He could be. And this is where the problem lies. Because if I'm among the princes of the church, if I'm among the bishops and the rulers, he's been doing this, and we follow traditions, and we're the keepers of this thing here, who's to say God's not doing another thing? Not no whole other gospel. We know it's not another gospel. Nobody's leaving the gospel, but could it be that something else is being stirred? I know, Tiffany, is probably a devil. It's probably the Illuminati. Somebody asked me about the boule. Do you think the boule? Of course, the boule is in church. Of course, it's going to be middlemen. Boule come from the Greeks and the Romans' time. Those were the aristocrats. You had to have some Kanye, some Kim Kardashian, some gifted people that's elite, that's among the elite, but they're not really born into the elite. We had it in Egypt, but it got really jumping in Greece and Rome. So you had gifted people. And when you go back to Egypt, what made Imhotep what Imhotep was is because his gifting, because he was heavy in mathematics, because he was a builder, because he was a doctor, he was a scientist. That made him, he wasn't the bloodline of the pharaohs, but that made him part of the aristocrat. The priests were part of the aristocrat, the rulers. So the rulers are looked at on another level. Are there aristocrats? Are there boule inside religions all over the world? Absolutely so. And their job is to rule and control the people. Yes, yes, it could be some monsignors, it could be some Jesuits, it could be some people, and it could be some bishops in the black church. It could be, and their job is to rule the people, to control the people, to calm the people down. Anything jump off, go get them under control. Al Sharpton. I ain't saying Al Sharpton, I'm just throwing names out there. So could it be religious boule? Of course it could be. Of course, this is nothing new. What we're going through, what we're dealing with is not anything new. Yes, black boule. Black boule. Now, am I going to say everybody, every pastor that's an alpha, every sister that's in the choir that's a delta, that's an AKA, but they have been known to pull them from certain things. That's why we had the Boy Scouts. That's why a lot of things with signs and symbols and honesty and camaraderie, certain things like the Boy Scouts and the what they call them, the Rainbow Girls and all of that stuff. That's how come people argue that those organizations are training grounds, and Freemasonry and other organizations and Divine Nine are training grounds that we can pull those people, we can pull and pick boule from certain groups, from Prince Hall. We can print Jesse Jackson and Prince Hall. So when people argue that, they're not wrong because they were down with the secret societies. Let me see if I went too far. If my people in them start hitting me, they do much. If they start hitting me and I see too much on my phone, I'm shutting it down right now. But these things, I'm live right now. These things have been going on. These things have been going on for a minute. So people would attempt to have you thinking that you're running around here tripping. Now, what I'm doing, Moses, I'm really connecting things, because y'all see me on with Elder Reinhardt. Shout out to him, and he do the fraternal thing. You know, he's talking a lot about the New World Order and stuff like that. And I know a lot of Christians will take Illuminati stuff, skull and bone stuff, Prince Hall stuff, and they'll run with it. But don't get the tripping that there is a connection. I don't want y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, don't get the tripping. There is a connection, and within those organizations, they've always had people that wanted to bring people to light, wanted to bring people, wanted to free people from some of the religious madness, but at the same time, it's been people from the same organizations. When the CIA pulling, when Langley and them pulling, they pulling from people that got the same training from Navy SEALs. They're going to pull from among some of the Rangers, from some of the same type of people. So when you see officers later on, they came through certain things. Some of them came through Afghanistan. Some of them came through different organizations, FBI, Texas Rangers, that come through different organizations, because in a way they're different agencies, but a lot of them have the same training. Even when you start saying they're doing black ops stuff, and they got a budget we don't know about, it going outside of the borders of the country, and they're operating and doing this and that. It's the same thing in the religious, in the spiritual world. That's how come I tell people it's important that you understand the art of war. Because when we're dealing with spiritual warfare, when we're dealing with manipulation, when we're dealing with intel and what people are doing, COINTEL never left. When people start dealing with misinformation, they're putting it out here. If they think it's an awakening, they're going to throw some stuff out here. And that's their job. This is what they've always done, this to control the people. They've always done this to control the people, and this is just part of what it is. So we've had people in the background that's been working, that's been involved in different orders, and we've had people that came down that had a word of mouth tradition about certain things, and they believe it because of certain things like what I showed y'all from the text. That order of Melchizedek, where did Moses, and some people are like, wow, you just made me think about some stuff. Other people, that would offend them, because that was just some questions. Those were just some questions. Where did Moses learn? Now, we can always say Moses got it tally. Moses got it from the high God in heaven himself. That's why he was up in the mountain, because God downloaded everything in there. But some people can say, through my own research, through my own spiritual walk, I know I'm where I am today because I spent time locked up. I spent time dealing with them books with Dr. Ben, the conscious community, mingling with plenty Freemasons, coming out of dealing with the 5%ers, dealing with different people. So all of that stuff has taught me. The Spirit has been my ultimate teacher. Has been my ultimate teacher, but all of those experiences have taught me, did God use all of Moses's experience? Are those numbers symbolic, just 40 years, or is that real time where God used his experiences to bring him out and then brought people into his path? Was Paul really, really a Pharisee among all Pharisees? Did he really study at the feet of Gamaliel? And did God take that stuff that Paul learned and used it and filled them and used it for his glory? You can say what you want. Paul was educated above Peter and them, and Paul wrote more New Testament books. So God used what was inside of him through all of that studying, all that rigorous training. Even though he said I had to go away into the wilderness, he had to make sure he had it right. He had to make sure he had it right. But God, in God's economy, God don't waste what you've used. If you come out of the Nation of Islam, if you come out of another thing and God's called you into this thing, you're going to use what you've learned in the past. God, the Spirit will draw some of that out of you. You can never forget what you've learned. God will draw some of that out of you. Even the bad experiences, he'll put a burden on your heart. My homegirl, she ran away and she got down with the stripping and getting money and all of that stuff. Now she in the church, she's steep as a woman of God right now, but she got a heart where other people in the church be like, leave them girls. And them girls coming up to church with them big onion booties hanging out and all of that other stuff. Excuse my language. Remember, I'm not a preacher. And all of that stuff. And she got a different heart from them than some of the mothers that want to shoot them down. Look how she dressed. That girl ain't think about how she dresses. She going over there, she loving them, and she hugging on them. She jumping out. She seeing chicks on the block walking up and down. She know what it is. She pulling over, jumping out, getting them coffee and talking. Let me change out my church shoes. And she putting her other shoes on because she come from that. She started stripping, but she ended up on the block with that dope and everything. So she got a heart for that. So it's even through her experiences. I got a heart for convicted felons and all that because I come from that through the experiences. So could it be that God still works the same way through experience? We just talking, Miss Tucker. We just talking. Nobody, there's no devil nowhere around. We're just talking. These are things we gotta look at. These are things we gotta deal with. All right, let me see if I got some questions in here before I get out of here. Definitely got me thinking about something. Yeah, and these are some things that we can think about. Where did it come from? How do God teach us? How do God train us? You can say what you want. God trains us through. I don't care how you slice this cake. God do train us through our experiences. I don't care if you've been in a foster home. I don't care what. God will take it for his glory. That's how can we say. So we say that in preaching, we get to holler and stuff, but what the enemy meant for evil, God will take that thing, and he's the ultimate recycler. He'll recycle that thing. Paul went through that thing as a Pharisee. He was sitting right there amping him up to kill Stephen. Y'all stone him. And Paul was right there amping it. Paul said, that's how come when Paul got saved, everybody was scared of him. Barnabas had to say, no, I didn't see him preaching this thing. He didn't risk his life for it. They were still leery about it. So I understand why people would be leery with new people getting saved, Kanye, new movements and all of that. I understand it, but don't act like God won't do it. He'll do a thing. A lot of times we read those stories in that book and we'll get it twisted when we see it happening before our very eyes. We'll turn around and say, this thing ain't God. Peter and them, they were praying. Peter was locked up. They were all in John Mark mama house. The maid went to the door. The girl Rhoda, she went to the door. Now they was all praying, God, work a miracle, do something. The angel of the Lord let Peter out. Come on, get up, time to slide up out of here. He got up out the jail. When he went, he knocked on the door. He started knocking on the door. Rhoda ran in the door and slammed the door. They said, that ain't even Peter. She went back and told apostles in them. Mary and Barnabas and all of them. He said, oh, that ain't Peter. That's his spirit. That's a whole nother subject right there. That's a whole nother subject right there, Rob Moses. We're going to talk about that later on. Saints and soul travel. Is that possible? Out of body, astral projection. Where did that come from? The occult world. Where is that happening when he says in Kings, when Elijah's man went to go get the money that he told him not to get because Naaman, the leopard, was healed. He said, did my spirit go with you? That's another. We're not even talking. We're talking to all the preachers about that another day. That's going to be for Friday night. Thursday night, but these are things to look at. They turned around and they didn't even believe, and they slammed the door and they said, that ain't Peter, that's his spirit. And they in there praying for God to do something. So you could be deep, you could have position, you can have title in the church and still be confused when the thing get done. You either out of shock. I don't know where it come from. Grace and peace, Pastor Major. I don't know where it come from. It could be out of shock. Let me read some of this. Somebody said, how do we talk to those Israelites that believe in exclusion? Like they don't want nobody else saved? That's one question. I'm going to come back to that. I'm reading some other. God uses our past because we're going to, that's all part of our process. That's part of the process. That's how come when he say that in that writ, a lot of y'all, Desmond and them in here, they may not like that, but when we start talking about all things work together for good, is that all things since you became into the knowledge? Or is that all things from everything? Even if you grew up and you were strung out, even you grew up, you went to foster home, you grew up, you were convicted, even you grew up, you were molested, even you grew up, all things? Do we really mean all things when the Bible says all things? So all is a lot. Because some of us in here have been through some hell. Let me see some people in here. Well, I know my sister, my homegirl in here, some people in here have been through some hell, Johnson. So when we look back, be like, oh, couldn't have been that. That couldn't have been God. That was nothing but the devil. Even that madness we done jumped into. Some of us jumped into marriages. Some of y'all hindsight 2020. Now that you look back, your baby boy, you would have never had a baby with that fool. I wish some of y'all were type 1 in here right now, but y'all don't want nobody else to know that you done played yourself and had a baby with a fool. Some of y'all done went married. This is things that happen. This is just things that happen. A lot of time, I think if you're discussing the thing when we're dealing with people and they're Israelites and they believe salvation is for nobody else, we have to let them know that that's not biblical whatsoever. Mix the multitude from the beginning. And even when we see Rahab and so many other people, Jesus healing outsiders, we see Israel constantly marrying other people and dealing with other people, and they're coming in and being part of the blessings. Remember, the blessings of God, all of this stuff, God just used Israel to be a light to the people. God's thing was to redeem all of humanity from the beginning. Remember, Adam and Eve weren't no Israelites. That's how come I say when we have Bible study, we take people from the beginning in Genesis and we show them the end in Revelation, that God started a work in Genesis and God ended a work in Revelation. We open up with a tree and we close with a tree in life. We see all of that in between. In the middle is where everybody get the confusion. Covenant theology, dispensationalism, and they all over the place. One saved, always saved, Calvin, Tulip. That's where people get mixed up. When is the rapture? Post, pre-trib, all of this other stuff. This is where all of the other confusion. Do you need tongues for the spirit? All the confusion is in the middle. The beginning and the end is good, but the confusion comes in the middle. And right now we're seeing more of it, but there's certain things that's not going away. DNA is not going away. And more people have a desire in their heart to understand something about themselves with DNA in light of being saved. I don't know what's wrong, Desmond, with grandma and them. They were saved. They weren't thinking about no DNA out back then, but they weren't thinking about that. My grandmother, yeah, she told me about Suriname, and she told me certain little things about the family, and we coming from Guyana and West Africa, and she kind of make a connection right there. My mama speaking Dutch, Papamento, and all of this stuff coming up in Kira. So they explained some of that stuff there, but it wasn't what we're seeing right now. But these are people, especially when I started looking at ministers and so many other people, these people are devils. People are devil. They're going to 23andMe. And then another thing I have to bring out, and I'm going to leave y'all alone right now because they're going to get me. Y'all haven't been, when the European Jews started out these organizations to run and do this DNA, Ashkenazi, when they were doing this DNA, when they were doing all this other stuff, wasn't nobody questioning them at all. And ain't nobody still questioning them at all. But they questioning the folk that look like me. Could it be some of you church folk doing just like how they do when I'm walking through the supermarket? When I'm walking through the store, they want to follow me around. Can I help you? Can I help you? No, you can't help me. I'm looking. Could it be? I don't know. I don't want to start no trouble. I don't want to start no trouble. I got plenty of apologists I got love for. I'm down with the church. I love the church. I love the Israelites I got love for too. So white is right. I said, put him on timeout. Who's in? Ain't nobody. Let me see if somebody came here to help me put Major on timeout. I told him that, put him on timeout. So now what's the problem? Could it be deep down inside hatred? Of course, we're scared about the doctrine. We don't want y'all to add anything to the gospel. Of course it could be. Of course it could be. I don't want y'all to add anything to the gospel. Or could it be that I'm just hating and I'm just nervous because you look like me? Coming to the world, and I remember, and then certain things with stereotypes we automatically do. There was a light-skinned girl over there looking like Indian. I went to Rite Aid to get them some medication, and I was a light-skinned girl looking like Indian. And then I was like, I was telling the girl, I forgot I was telling her something. I said, I don't know, I don't like them pills. I had an upset stomach. And the girl said, well, talk to the doctor right there. The little brown-skinned girl, black woman, she was the pharmacist. I didn't even know it. I automatically said, excuse me, miss, talking to the Indian lady, instead of the young black girl that was right there. She was the lead pharmacist in Rite Aid. So it's stuff that we order, some stuff, and we're like, why would you think, when she said the doctor right there, why did you automatically think it was the older Indian woman further away instead of the black young girl standing right in front of you? The girl only looked like she was about 23. I don't know. She could have been 28, whatever it is, but why did I skip over her? So we can tend to do these things. Mr. Blacktastic, grace and peace. On what he said, boom, church, don't be, that's right, thank you, somebody, thank you. He said, Berean is a racist. But these are things that we got to look at. These are things that we got to look at. So could it be because people are discussing these things that we're going to have some of our own people? Remember, Harriet Tubman said she could have got more people free. Them folk ain't want to rock out with her. They was like, you ain't writing exactly, you ain't going to make it up there. Masters and them going to kill you. You know, so could it be we got them, we got some of those people around us still? Yes, it absolutely can be. So now what do we do? Because those people are our brothers and sisters. That's what you want. Harriet Tubman went back. Those people were her brothers and sisters, but everybody ain't want to be free. So she's like, man, I can't focus on y'all right now. Whoever want to come on, we sliding tonight. We gonna get up out of here tonight. We gonna make this thing happen. And these are things that we got to look at, and we have to look at things like this. When, like I said, when them other people hit me, well, Berean, what do y'all think about that? I can't even say I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna talk apologists. I'm gonna talk Christians into, you know, or looking into some things. Some Christians, they don't want to hear nothing about DNA. They the first thing that what the devil. And that's what the other, especially the older preachers, what the devil got to do with Jesus and the Bible. Like nothing, sir. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But I was just trying to bring out the point of, you know, and then you can't, you know, then you got to be respectful. I'm respectful. I'm sitting in my office. I got my hands up sometimes looking around, looking crazy, but they be like, oh, this crazy fool ain't gonna come in here with none of that. And you gonna make sure you walk out that door. They don't want me to stop in the church to talk to nobody. People be asking me questions. They don't go out that door. And I'll see you later on. Like, all right, we chopping up later on. What's the beef? But you start getting known as a troublemaker because you want people to think. You know, because you want to ask certain questions, or somebody asks you a question, be like, yo, that's a good point. That's a very good point right there that you just brought out, my brother. You know, and that's how I think we need to do stuff like that. We need to discuss some things. We need to bring some things out. That's why I tell people, I say, you got to know, you got to be sure. We're living in the time right now. You got to be sure inside of your individual callings. Now, y'all can come in, we can get wrecked, and we talking with Moses, and we getting our wreck out and saying what we're saying, but we got to be sure of our individual callings and where we are right now and what God is saying. I see my man in here. He was like, yo, I remember months back, he was like, man, I see they getting in at you, but go ahead, keep going. And then he was like, yo, I'm going to look into some stuff. I'm going to fall back for a couple of months and I'm going to go research stuff. I automatically have respect for him. He said a couple of months because I know you just don't go and Google 2, 3 things, even if you're hitting Google Scholar. I know you ain't hitting something and coming back the next day. And I know what it is. I took my DNA, my results came back. This is what it is, A, B, C, and D. Like, no, I'm going to go look into some things. And he knows it's going to take a little time. It's going to be a process that all of the stuff happened. But before he even got to that stage, he had to already be thinking. And my thing is, there's a lot of people thinking and they can't even speak their mind. They're sitting up in church believing one thing and they can't even speak their mind. That's how come a lot of people would, quote unquote, backslide or leave the church, because before they can start bringing up their doubts and how they're feeling, they don't have a vent. They don't have a place where they can let it out and say, yo, I'm thinking A, B, C, and D. I've been going through EF, and I've been going through this, and just so much, and a lot of people think just going to church and singing and clapping going to do it. That other lady said no, not after seeing my husband going through that cancer, taking care of him, the chemo, the throwing up, the getting sick, the in and out the hospital, past the church, people praying, ambulance in front of the church. No, not all of that. She needs some talking to. She want to figure some things out because she's been through so much, because she's seen so much. And there's nothing wrong with that. What do you do with people that's been through serious domestic violence? People that's been through raising a parents that fell back into Alzheimer's. The other lady that's been on plenty missionary trips. They going to visit her. She done opened up multiple churches. They going to visit her in the nursing home. Now she got Alzheimer's. Now what the MF? Now she cussing folk out. She cussing out the nurses in them because her mind has slipped. Her spirit's not saved anymore. 80 years walking with the King. I don't believe you, church people. Too much stuff y'all say. I don't believe it in my heart. I don't believe it. Her mind might be gone, but I know her spirit is separate from her mind, and I know the King is doing something. Why y'all can't dump me out with that book? Y'all ain't gonna do it. Maybe y'all got it wrong. And this ain't everybody. Maybe y'all got it wrong. That's all I'm telling some people. Maybe y'all got it wrong. Maybe in that state. And she used to cast out devils and everything. Maybe in that state, maybe, I don't know why it happened. Maybe God allowed some stuff. All right, I see my man, he said, all right, they're gonna give me a couple of more minutes. I don't want to drop too much, but it's like, we just got to really start examining ourselves, and we just got to really fall back and be like, am I doing God or am I doing my tradition? Am I playing my position as apologist? Am I playing my position as a Pentecostal? Because we got plenty place like I go to my man in them crib, they got boxes of sneakers, they sneaker bandits, boxes of Kims and Maury Gators, they got boxes and boxes there's a lot of boxes. We got to take off all of it. We got to jump up out these boxes. And that's all I'm telling everybody today. Y'all got to jump up out these boxes. God, whatever you're going to do, you're going to do. And I don't want to be the one blocking nobody, and God is doing something. It's too many boxes that we all locked down in a IUIC box. This is my GMS box. We all in crazy box. This is my 5% box, but I believe in God. 82 Psalms and all this other. We all these crazy. We got to come up out these boxes. And I think I hear the Holy Ghost saying, come out wherever you are. I don't know how old y'all is, but back in the days, we used to play some, what was that game we used to play? Let me see if that's my man coming on. What's that game we used to play back in the days? And you count the number, then you turn around and tell them, come on out. I hear the Holy Spirit saying, come out. I hear him saying, come out. Some of us got to come up out these boxes. And we'll get a clarity of understanding if we did simple stuff, just walk in love. I bang my denomination. I bang my belief hard. I bang it hard. That's how like I said, I jumped in that urban apologetic thing for a minute, but I was like, boy, you got to jump on out that box. You in the box, but you ain't of the box. And y'all got to know what the king's saying when he's saying that. So I'm like, man, let me jump about. I'm in this box. Let me jump about this box so I can just hide and seek. Days of Noah, you old. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Hide and seek. But that's what it is. In the chat, you know what it is. That's what it is. So we gotta look at some things. We gotta re-examine some stuff. Now, some people will be like, all right, I'll ride some of what you're saying, Berean, but I'm going to tell you right now, Moses learned it in the wilderness, and it's okay. If the bishop believed that Moses, when he learned it from the Midianites, and the Midianites had to school him, and those were a different group of people that God is with, it's okay if God ain't revealed that to you. It's okay if that's not even, these are secondary things. These are just things that grown people can discuss, but it's okay. But I know one thing, especially when y'all used to tell me, he don't put nothing, he ain't gonna waste no line in the Bible. If he put it in there, he put it in there for a reason. I know Melchizedek, he came from Jerusalem. He was the Prince of Peace. He was locked in with some stuff. Was he a type of Christ? He could have been a type of Christ. Was Jerusalem a special place? Pastor Major, that's a good question for you right now. Is it Jerusalem a special place on the planet right now? Did God make a shift? Y'all like them pyramids, and a lot of people go to them pyramids, but boy, I'm telling you right now, you got a couple of billion people on this planet, and they recognize Jerusalem as the leader of something. There's some holy something is going on. So I believe when it comes to prophetic and prophecy in the end times, there's something going on there. But just like I'm watching it, just like God's watching it, the devil, because it's always three elements. It's God, the devil. It was Adam and Eve. That's humanity. It was God, and then it was the serpent. So it's always three elements. So don't think that some elements ain't over into them same people that turn around and gave y'all that DNA, them same people that turn around and gave y'all that Belfort Act so they can turn around and chop up that land and take that land and do some stuff. Them same folk. Them same folks. So it's some heavy stuff going on. And it's easy if I'm just going to church and I'm just reading the Bible and I'm just singing and I'm clapping and I'm not a deep thinker meditating on his word and questioning certain things and knowing that in the last days he's going to pour out his spirit. Your sons and daughters going to see vision, going to prophesy and have visions. He could be showing some folks some stuff. He could be showing some, I ain't gonna say they're gonna start no madness out that book, but if he's showing some stuff and he's expounding some stuff and he's revealing some stuff, maybe somebody could be seeing something that the old bishops and them ain't seeing. Now, I know somewhere in that good book said he ain't gonna do nothing. Where in the chat at? Give me that verse right there, Mike Shaw. He ain't gonna do nothing except he reveal it to his prophet. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that because I know some of y'all said ain't no more prophets. Ain't no more prophets. Ain't no fivefold. How he gonna do that when we ain't coming to the unity of the? Jeff, come take this microphone and let me ask these people if they believe God is speaking through anybody. If there's a prophetic element that's in the earth in this day, a prophetic element could be the stirring. We think it's a race thing, and it could be a prophetic element that's being thrown out here. I was saying last night, God, you gotta help me. I'm around these people right here. The one person I was praying for last night, this ignorant guy right here. Because I don't know. Pastor Major said, oh, the spirit on Jeff tonight. The spirit on him tonight. That was last night. And we were talking. I'm like, Lord, is that your spirit? Or is that Rodney King? He could be, because he's down there in California, y'all. He could be still upset about that Rodney King thing. I don't know what's wrong with these young folk.
Wait a minute, I'm your age. What are you talking about?
I'm not sure if this young folk, it could be God, but we got some rebellious young folk reading this book now. And I'm like, boy, they coming, are these your people, Jesus? They got hard questions. They're saying hard stuff. Come on, Elder, take the floor. Let me read some of these comments.
You know, Brother Berean, grace and peace, everybody. You know, I'm just maybe a couple of shakes of salt younger than you. So, you know, we were both pop locking around that era. So
You ain't.
but you know, we are going through a change. And Brother Berean, this not a lot of this stuff isn't really new as far as actually going through transitions in the realm of when it's church involved with God doing His work. It's always an unknown thing that He does, because we don't think like He does, and so we have to just brace ourselves for it and embrace whatever it is that's coming. Keep God out of a box. Just keep Him out of a box, and you'll be able to accept whatever it is that He's bringing forward for us. The Kemetic community that has been able to successfully evangelize a lot of once known Christians. All that happened for a reason. For the Hebrew brothers and sisters who's doing a great evangelistic work at this time. All this is being done for a reason. For those that you know, all those missing seats in the sanctuary, maybe all those things are happening for a reason. I believe they are. I believe that it's necessary for us to fall on our knees and ask God to show what it is that He wants us to see, and allow us to fall in line with Him even more so than we ever have. Not to say that you haven't yet or never did, but even more so now than you ever have, because there is a difference. I don't care what part of the United States you go to, as far as the African American church, there's a lot of people missing out as far as attendance on Sunday morning. It's nothing like it used to be. So where are these people? Are all of them listening to TD Jakes on Sunday instead of going to TD Jakes church?
Nope.
His seats, he holds 6,500 people. And when I look there, his church is primarily full, but what about these other churches that hold about 100, 200 people? A lot of those churches are not full to capacity. Many of them. And we all know this because we once attended those churches, or we know somebody that does, that has this type of conversation.
I'm sorry. Ross said Christ, the high priest of order, consistency, permanently. No, I think, what do you think about Jerusalem? I want to say something that I want you to speak to something that Ross just said. Ross just said spiritual Jerusalem. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to pick up from the other night. Do me a favor, Dr. Ernestine, hit me in the email right now, please. Mr. Blacktastic, I think I'm going to hit you too. I want to ask Mr. Blacktastic, Pastor Majors, if he's in there, Mike Shaw, and yourself, Elder, if you don't mind. Do you think there's something going on with physical Jerusalem, the land of Palestine, according to your knowledge in the Bible, or is it a spiritual Jerusalem ruling from our hearts, and the King is going to rule from our hearts, and we're making some promises in the Bible that's spiritual, we're making it physical, and that could be a reason that we're getting pimped with Christian Zionism or this Talmudic Judaism and Zionism and political, what you call it, going on over there in Israel?
Well, I really don't know. There is some things that's going on because of the fact that non-European Jews or Hebrews are arriving to Israel with the ambition of taking a position in the sight of God's eyes, not just a spiritual position, but also a physical position, meaning that some are moving to Israel and proclaiming their rights, what they feel is that those rights that they deserve. So there are a lot of things that are happening. I don't know how that is moving along, but for my one of the last things, when I checked last time, it wasn't going very well. They weren't being well received.
You ain't lying about that.
And it's been a lot of conversation. Is who are you really? Are you deserving or do you deserve to be called a Hebrew or Israelite? That has been the conversation, not just from people that look like you and I, but conversations that come from European. Now, last we checked, we have found that a lot of genetically, there is a closer link to the African descendants of Israel than it would be from the Europeans' perspective, genetics.
Well,
So
because that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think if they were the same color as a lot of the people arriving, would it be the same beef? And this is just normal human behavior, or you think because they do look differently? They say the soldiers, the cops, they said a lot of people have argued that they are. I've never been over there. I know a few people we know been over there, and they said there is a difference. They do treat you different. They want to treat you different, even after the government airlifted and paid to get a lot of them over there. You know, the rabbis, they want to be superior to they. Some people say, oh, they want to just compare different things. Other people like, no, they want to see if we really conform to their belief system and the way they understand Torah and A, B, C, and D. Go ahead. And after that, I'm going to read what Dr. Ernestine say, and I want to see if I don't see she didn't hit me the email, but I want to read. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
And even through the process of their validation, they are often treated as a stepchild, as I guess the example would be as they treated the Christians in early times. So with that being said, is it a true acceptance, or is it more of an evaluation? We're going to look into this further and see if it all line up. Well, I mean, it probably lines up, even with it being our tradition. Look at the significance and how long our tradition, 1,000 years of uninterrupted of our tradition before they even had encounters of people from other persuasions. And then with the development of not just Muslims, but Christians, with a large sections of them migrating to certain areas that was at once a Hebrew influence. So with that being said, I think God is doing something, and I can't put my finger on it, but there is something that's going on. But I'm gonna embrace whatever it is.
And you see how you don't have to know. He an elder in the large church, and he said he don't know. He can't put his finger exactly on what it is. I think the prophets even did that when they read other prophetic writings and they began to pray and say, listen, let me try to understand what's being said here. I think the other people have done, other holy men of God in the past have done the same thing. Let me read what Dr. Ernestine Reynolds said. Isn't it ironic? All the other races know where they come from and go back to their homeland except our people. But now that we are searching and researching, the other nations have a problem. Dr. Ernestine, Christian, Dr. Ernestine, I don't think you've come out with that, because Dr. Ernestine been rocking with us for a good minute in Sunday seminary. Dr. Ernestine's Christian. Dr. Ernestine ain't even claiming Israel and saying stuff like that. Now that's interesting to hear. That's interesting to hear that other believers are even saying this right now. It's interesting to hear Jeff that's not claiming Israel, but calling the Hebrews our brothers and sisters. Because y'all know, according to a good bit of us in the church, y'all talking about y'all Hebrew, y'all got to get saved. Y'all ain't saved because y'all worried about nationality. I hear my man and them going in when we start talking about that moderate thing. But I still use that to distinguish. And I tell y'all, I got that from apologist Damus Richardson a few years back to distinguish between the camps.
Oh, grace and peace, Sister E. She just said hello to us in the chat.
Where she at? Sister E, hit me in the thing. And so I could start troubling. If you want, can I bother you, Sister E? I don't know. She uppity there with her. You know how long it took me to get to 200 subscribers? She's doing her numbers over there. God bless her. I'm happy, but I'm hating. I'm like, man, you know how long it took me to get to 200, man? Shoot, it must have took me 6 months. We ain't see Sister E in 2 weeks, and she already got over 200 subscribers. Hit me if you want to, or I can send you that thing. But what do you think about? But what do you think about some of that? I started off, I don't know if you were in the car, Tiffany Haddish, she's down there with y'all. The comedian, she said she got the Netflix thing on, the Black Mitzvah. She doing a bar mitzvah, but she talked about her Jewish heritage, how her father was an Ethiopian Jew, and she started bringing this out. So of course, some people gonna hit me. Well, what are y'all thinking? Like, that's proof. Berea, if you go take this to the church, the church ain't thinking about y'all right now. But I said this is still something worth bringing out and discussing. What do you think about that whole Tiffany thing? And she said she did her 23andMe, her DNA. Her father said that they were Ethiopian Jews and all of this stuff. And, you know, she's just bringing light to the situation. Let's just say situation.
Okay.
Some people call it awakening. Like I said, church folk over there call it that demonic devil deceiving the nations, deceiving the Black Americans like he deceived us before with the tribe of Sheba and all that other nonsense. What do you think?
Well, my perspective is this. It's a lot like a lot of other individuals that have had their DNA results come back to them, like our beloved Sister E. And I mean, Sister E, we know well about what she represents and how she represents it, and it was even before the results came back. She stood strong before, and she's even stronger afterwards. As far as Tiffany's concerned, I think that we should allow her to have her space to find herself as far as where she belongs in her faith. We give her a space, the same space that Kanye West deserves. Give them all this space. That's what we needed at one time, to try to find out where we stood in the faith. So I think those things are really necessary. You embrace them, you guide them, you cultivate them, you pray for them. You honor them in a sense where they have chose righteousness over all things. And that's what we often overlook, that they are choosing righteousness above all things, because the morality that God has imputed in the faith as far as choosing the Israelites to be a chosen people. He imputed certain things in them, important to them, so they can develop in a sense. Now, I'm not saying that they all develop, but they had the opportunity to develop into a people that was great and with great examples as far as their past and their present concerned. So I think we need to just embrace her for what it is, what her efforts are as far as walking in righteousness.
Listen to Mr. Blacktastic. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see if Sister E gonna jump on. I just sent her this thing, but I want to read something. She jump on. I'm gonna wait a minute. Then I'm gonna read something. Is she in here?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. Hopefully you jump. I want everybody to hear this right now. I know they're a couple of seconds behind us. Mr. Blacktastic said, if one's ethnicity is important enough for God to recognize it, then it shouldn't be dismissed by us as if it doesn't matter. If one's ethnicity is important enough for God to recognize it, then it shouldn't be dismissed by us or by some of us like it's nothing and it does not matter. What can you say on that? I want to coming right there on that.
That, in my opinion, is very profound. She's not in yet. It definitely, what God respect, we should respect. He is our guide. He's the one that shows us what direction we supposed to take, what position we supposed to hold in the faith. So if we're doing that, then what's wrong with, if he's doing that, what's wrong with us holding that same position? There's nothing wrong with what he said. It's very, very profound in that sense.
And another thing that we gotta, and I know people like, listen, Bereen, you gotta leave it alone. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. Another thing is crazy. When they started saying, was your phone on, sis? Did you just hear what I just read? She don't know. She don't know.
No, I haven't heard what did you just say?
I'm gonna read it one more time. Mr. Blacktastic. Where is he at? He was just talking around and said, this thing be moving so fast.
Let me see.
Mr. Blacktastic, he quoting scriptures there, but said, when y'all coming here typing on, doing all this typing, I can't even see what I was just reading.
What was you reading?
I believe God is behind it. You see, that's him doing all this talking. If he would stop talking, I could find it scrolling down up. You don't see it, Jeff? He was just basically, he was just saying, if our ethnicity, Mr. Blacktastic, if our ethnicity is important enough for God to recognize it, who are we or other people to try to get out here and dismiss it like it means nothing? And the point I was going to bring out right before you jumped on is that people, You got to understand, when it comes to the curse of Ham, when it comes to slavery, when it comes to the Talmud, when it comes to this race cursing, the serpent seed doctrine, all this racist stuff that been propagated by the clan, Aryan, Phineas priesthood, all these other white racist folk, all these folk got together to tear down black folk. All these different Germans, all these different white folk from all over Europe, Portugal, Spain, everywhere, they band together to use theology, to use science, to use everything to say blacks are beneath us as human beings. They all got together for this. Why can't we get together to just shrug all of that nonsense off of us? Because there's some stuff, you can say what you want, some European evangelicals, they're still riding on that horse. They're still riding on that horse that we're beneath them. So I can't band with them to saying, or even like the other pastors say, oh, it's good to say it doesn't matter now. No, we got to take off 500 years of lives. We got to get rid of 500 years of lives. And why can't we all stick together? We fighting against each other. And some of us are riding with those folk, saying it doesn't matter when they spent hundreds of years to scientifically prove we were beneath them, our cranium, our skin, all of this other stuff, our intellect, IQ tests, all of this stuff to try to prove we're beneath them as a people. How you been, Sister E?
I've been good.
That's good. That's good. How's everything going? Would you like to speak to what I just said, or would you like to keep it? Because you know they're already after you. You know what it is.
I don't really
I said she's my peeps anyway, so she gonna come on when she come on. She always welcomed here, even though you're damned right now. You know you're damned, right?
By who?
You don't know. You don't. I'm not gonna start getting the name for Rob Moses and them to go spreading it. But you're a troublemaker. It's okay. I say you're our troublemaker, right, Jeff? I said she's our troublemaker. It's okay. God still love her.
That's our sister E. She all right.
How you been? You want to go pick up from here, or you want to just give them something else? You want to share? You want to share your thoughts on that?
You know, my whole point with the whole Tiffany Haddish thing, and also with us having the identity of Israel, I think with our people, we have a hard time accepting something when it's been. See, it's already started ringing and rocking. When it's already been something that's embedded in our heads that everybody's the same, and we shouldn't make any difference, and you know everybody's the same, but I tell the people this: if we're the same, why is 1948 a big deal? People get scared when I say that, but why is 1948 a big deal? Why have they made it such a big deal in history and in the church? 1948, them returning to the land. Everybody embraced it when they were European, but now the faces are no longer European and it's Black. It's a problem. So the problem ain't really with us. You need to start with the people in 1948 because they were the first ones. But I bet you they won't go over there and say nothing to them. It's easy to talk crazy to us. So that's my point. You know, it's just it's interesting, especially with our folk and how our people are attacking us. Because we're so afraid. I guess it's that, and I don't want to say, I hate to say slave mindset, but to a point it is. It's like we can't upset anybody around us. You looking at that chat, but we can't upset the masses. We got to just kind of, we have to stay level with everybody else, and it's just it's sickening to me. It's gotten really sickening to me.
But you got to understand, when we start dealing with the church and evangelical Christian Zionism in general is powerful. Christian Zionism, John Hagee and them, the influence of Israel, we believe that that's fulfillment of prophecy when you start dealing with Israel starting to come back as a nation, as a people. Like you said, it wasn't no problem when the light-skinned Israeli people were going back, but now dark-skinned ones are saying this, and some of them are trying to move over there and all of this other stuff. And where do Ethiopia fit in? If Israel, if Jews from all over the planet, it's no problem. All up and down Germany, all up and down Portugal, all up and down Spain and Ireland and everywhere else is no problem, but it's a little more intense when they're dealing with those that are coming from over there. And I do say I know rabbis that believe when it comes to Israel there is no color. There is no color. I have met rabbis personally with the curly that have said that, but there are people, there are others that feel away. And they feel away because it's been promoted for hundreds of years on this planet that darker hued people are beneath us. Darker hued people are here. They're the beast of the field. They're the cursed people. God has cursed them. We've taught our children this in Europe, all over the world. They've been teaching their children this for hundreds of years. We've been seeing it with Birth of a Nation. It's been propagated through TV. They've even flipped it and used some of us to use the N-word, the B-word on our own people, disrespect our own people. So much black on black violence towards we're quicker to blow that hammer at somebody to look like us than blow that hammer at somebody that's light skinned with blue eyes. And I'm not saying, and I'm not promoting violence, but I'm just saying those are known facts. Those are known facts. We look at, we get madder at each other. We're quicker to do violence to each other. And this is just how it is. And I'm not saying nobody deserves violence, but that's just how it is. Jeff, you want to, that Belfort Declaration is not from Yah, he said. And that's another thing. If I believe you believe the Bible, can I manipulate prophecy? Do I have any evidence that people in the past have manipulated prophecy? Growing up, being around Pentecostals, have I seen people manipulate other people through prophecy because they believe the book? And I see Sister E looking like she need a husband, so I start my man on the organ and get to speaking in tongues and prophesying a husband coming, and she loosed that pocketbook with a seed. Have we done that before? So if we've done it before, the small level in the Pentecostal church, how much more can some bosses do it? On a level where legislation and stuff will be passed. Listen, y'all go ahead and take that land. We need that land. It's going to fulfill prophecy. Then I'm going to get some big time TBN preachers and I'm going to pimp the church to give us money to build it up. Of course, that's how a boss would think. And we got some manipulators out here thinking like bosses. They're going to manipulate the book. They're going to manipulate the prophecy in the book to make some stuff happen. I hate to make it sound like that, Jeff. That's why people don't like when I be getting on it, because it sounds real ignorant, it sounds real rough. But listen, sometimes what you be thinking it's impossible. I don't want to believe it. A lot of times you better believe it. Come on, Jeff, you got the floor.
Yes, that goes right back to getting in your word and studying for yourself. Take time out to study and apply the word to your daily lifestyle. And we don't do enough of that. Once we begin to do enough of that, then when somebody coming us sideways in that manner, we'll recognize some of these things because God is a God of righteousness. And when you see something that don't look righteous, immediately you should respond to that in a way where you back away from it, you turn from it, or you confront it as what it is. So that's what I believe in essence what Brother Berea is trying to say. Get in your word, learn your word, involve yourself in the word, and then share the word with other individuals that you see that's fallen astray, that's fallen into that kind of stuff. We have to get out of the manipulated part of what some people call church. You know, that it's time up for a lot of that stuff. That's another reason why you have a great falling away from the church, because of the great manipulators that has involved themselves in ministry to that capacity.
And another thing, I'm sorry, what was that? Chester just said consequences are less when consequences are less when we attack our own. You ain't lying about that. Go ahead, Sister E. You see anything in the comments? I'm talking about you, and I gotta turn my phone down. Okay, all right, go ahead. No, I see the doctor just hit me. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sister E. I'm gonna type this thing in here. If you see anything in there.
So what I wonder in some of these things that's developing, what if the black Israelites, what if the European Israelites decide that they're not going to accept them? What happens next? What if they say, no, these are not the real people? They're not
towards
authentic.
what people? Towards what people? Hold on.
Towards the African or African descent Hebrews or Israelites. So what happens if they're saying, if the Europeans are saying, the European Israelites are saying that, no, these are not the people. They're not associated with us in any kind of way. The practice, we don't care about the genetics of it. They're not a part of us and we won't take part of them. Now, what happens next after that?
That's a good question. You heard that, Major? I would even flip it the other way. Suppose they turn around and said, yeah, and start saying, yeah, Israel, those people that went over there in slave trade. Let's just throw it out there. Let's just say they weren't I don't want right now, because if the European Jews turn around and said, yes, those are God's people, we acknowledge those in America claiming to be Hebrew, that's how I think some of them camps are messing it up, running in front of the European Jews saying crazy stuff, running up on them in the train and all of that stuff. Of course, if they did turn around and say that, I'll be so upset at that Christian church. Ooh, when them cool, I'll be so upset them apologists turn around and say, well, we know, because the white man, that's how I told y'all I'm watching y'all with that weed, with this miracle marijuana. I'm watching y'all because y'all been saying weed is the devil when the dreadlocks was smoking it. When the dread say it's good for you, y'all was saying it's the devil. So now if the white man turn around and say weed good for you, you preachers better not. Oh, that's when y'all gonna really say he ain't part of the church. That's when y'all go.
Now you're preaching. Go ahead, preacher.
That's what I said. That's his ignorance. I know that. I know. You see that? I know that's that ignorance side right there. Pastor Major told about that's their spirit. He's still mad with Rodney King. He got resentment in him. That could be some type of rebellion inside of him. Go ahead, Sister E. I'm going to try to y'all go ahead for 1 second. Let me try to get this thing here.
I mean, you got to look at it from this standpoint. If it comes out that the African Americans are all Hebrews, do you realize the guilt that'll be, or man, how the U.S. would come out on the end of that? Because ultimately, you're telling the people here, European Americans, that you enslaved God's chosen people. Man, I'm scared of what they might try to do to me to get rid of me. Being honest. But I mean, you got it, man.
Would that be just the African Americans? Would that be the Brazilians as well, and in the UK and other places too?
Yeah, and not just African Americans. Overall, just all the black. If they came out that all black people were, Israelites, the world would be upside down, because you got to realize, when they look at that prophecy and all those prophecies that relate to that and all the things that have happened to the people that did it, man, my heart goes out. I'm gonna be scared to walk around the street from somebody trying to get rid of me. But I mean, it's obvious that it's got to shake white evangelicals at their core, because what you're saying is, because when you look at the root of some of the things that the white evangelicals did, it was racism there. Not all, some. In fact, we have schools here, private schools that are white evangelical white schools that came about during integration, and they wanted to take their white children out of the schools and separate them from us. And these are the churches, the white churches here in Memphis. So with that being said, you see some seeds of racism there. So that, I really believe that's some of the root, that's the majority of the root of the problem. You're dealing with a racist society that has already labeled us as being second class, third class, fourth class citizens. And now you're saying you're the chosen? How dare you? How dare you? And that's how they're looking at it. Like, I mean, you can't look at it no other way than that. And I'm not saying all, but some of them are like that. They can't, you're changing it's a major paradigm shift. Major.
I know these folk are sick out here. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I know these folk are sick out here. The other person said, well, y'all were basically, listen to what they said. Basically, they were saying back in the days, if the laws of the land said you have to ride the back of the bus, if the laws of the land said you cannot drink from that water fountain, why would you be upset at certain preachers that's moving around the country with tent meetings and they don't have the congregation, they don't have black people up in the front on the altar at prayer with them at the tent meetings back in the 60s, back in the 50s and the 40s, going all around the South? Because you wanted those white Christians to break rules and blend and sit down at a counter with black people in Woolworth and all of these different places, buying hamburgers and eating and acting like everything is together, when the laws of the land say they got to use a separate bathroom and drink from a separate water fountain. Somebody hit me in the email with that. Somebody hit me in the email. A Christian hit me in the email with that. You wanted them to break the laws when it comes to the laws of the land. How would you have even answered that? How would you have answered that?
Who, me?
Yeah, that's a good question. Those white people were just doing, you can't try to make those white people wicked. Back then, if the white people said to drink from, if the law said you got to use a different bathroom and all of white society were Christians and they said, listen, that's just what the law of the land is. Black people have to use a different bathroom. They have to ride the back of the bus and they can't drink from the same water fountain as me. Why should I, as a white Christian, speak against the laws of the land? That's just the laws of the land. That's how it is.
But even when you look at the book of Philemon,
but you want to say they ain't saved. They wasn't saved back then.
But you got to look at even the book of Philemon when Paul was talking to
slave,
and it was the law of the land. But he asked Philemon, treat him like he's your brother. And it was the law of the land then to treat slaves a certain way. But Paul even went against that to say, you know, if we're the gospel and we're supposed to walk in love, we're not supposed to mistreat anybody, even though that was the law of the land at that time. That means something wrong with the land, and they're gonna be held accountable for that because you mistreated a group of individuals. But even within that, you have white Christians and white evangelicals that stood by the side of the black people that were fighting against segregation.
There gotta be a spirit inside of your heart, a spirit of righteousness that know what you're doing to those Mexicans are wrong. I might not be Mexican, but there gotta be something to say, what you doing to them children are wrong, separate. It gotta be something inside of you. Oh, it's something.
But Brian, I'm gonna say this, because we say that a lot with the comment that Sister E just made, but we have to realize that's their reasonable service. Just like it's our reasonable service to stand side by side with our brother and sister, regardless of the skin tone. That's a reasonable service. That's the very least they can do.
The least they can do. Somebody said the Most High laws supersede the laws of the land and society.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And if we all knew that, and if we all went with that, go ahead. Let me read Proverbs.
And we'll find out. Go ahead, Sister.
No, go ahead. No, I'm saying I'm gonna read Proverbs. Proverbs got some wreck, but y'all go ahead. I'm gonna see what Proverbs talking about today, because Proverbs think we was neglecting them yesterday. Go ahead.
You can go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so I'll say this much. Caesar will often create laws that he can't even live by. And I'm done with it.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
But it goes even further than just the laws of just the water fountain and the backseat. Let's talk about whole communities that were burned down because they were wealthy communities. You know, Black Wall Street, you know, Rosewood, all these different Black communities that were able to sustain themselves and sustain them much better than most white communities. They literally burned those communities down. You know, and you got to look at just those.
But those people are gone now. And what do you say to the people? Say those people are gone now. You're living in the past. Leave it alone. Get up and move on. Those people are gone, and you're still talking. You're hawking. You're still talking about that stuff, and they're long gone.
But the spirit's still here. The spirit of racism is still here.
She said the spirit. Now she believes in
spirit of racism. That demonic spirit is still there. When you see on TV that some innocent man being killed by a police officer, or somebody being called the N-word in a supermarket, or I mean, so many other things that we can call out that we might not be hanging from trees. But I mean, even just here recently, I mean, not recently, but a couple of years ago, a Black woman was hung in Jackson, Mississippi. What about that man in Jasper, Alabama that was drugged by a truck? He was on the back of a truck and they drugged this Black man. So racism is here, still here.
It's an issue of the heart, Johnson. It's an issue of the heart. Vince Perry said, amen, Sister Eve. It's an issue of the heart. And as long as that's how come some people say don't even speak to it. As long as you're going to have sin in the land, racism manifests itself through sin. That's why some people arguing, y'all are trying to change people's hearts, and you can't change their heart. The gospel will change their hearts. But when people already claim they have the gospel, when people already claim they're children of God, when people are taking it to the highest thing and saying God is a racist. It ain't just these camps on the corner hollering that God is racist. God don't like white folk. God love Black folk. And white folk was hollering that first.
But you got to realize
that what people running around here saying, and then atheists running around saying, "Oh, I wouldn't want no God like that. I wouldn't want to be part of that." Because people are saying that God has ordained things to be like that. Don't be mad at the white folk. Be mad at God. God has allowed certain people to go into captivity. He's did that. And he's allowed, he just, listen, the eagles fly the way the eagles fly and the birds are on the ground. What the little birds we got by the corner store? I know y'all got them down there in California. What you call them other little dirty birds to be on the garbage cans around the way?
Pigeons.
Pigeons on the ground. The eagles flying. And God caused it to be like that. God caused it to be like that, Mike Shaw. You black people are mad at God. Y'all mad at God's chosen folk because they on top and y'all on the bottom. And it was orchestrated to be this way.
What, Brother Berea? I don't
That's
know
good
about
English
that.
talk right there.
Yeah, you can stir that pot of chili and no, brother. You know what? I'm gonna say it like this. Now, I'm willing to look for solutions in a lot of these things, but I'll say this much, just to go with respond to what you just said. Why is it that blackness is mentioned throughout the entire Bible and no other nationality is mentioned? If God don't like black.
I didn't say that. Jeff said it.
Why is it mentioned that? From Nubian to Ethiopian to Cush, all the way throughout the entire Bible. It's mentioned.
You know why I don't like you?
Non-stop. But God don't like us?
You know
he ain't mentioning nobody else in there like that.
Johnson, Mike Shaw, Johnson, Perry. I'm gonna tell a few of y'all something right now, because y'all coming here and y'all trying to change this good book right now. You hear me, Pastor Major? Y'all trying to change this good book right now. Now they've been telling us. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I'm up there in age, and they've been telling us there was 3 races on that boat. There was a white family on the boat. There was a black family on the boat. Y'all coming and y'all trying to change this Noah Ark story around. That's what I know. I know y'all trying to come saying the black man is the original man. I know what you're trying to do. I know what you're trying to do, Sister E. And I gotta fight against that. I know what you're trying to do. You don't believe white folk was on the ark. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
What does the scripture
say?
When
I talk my ignorant talk, and I say the black man, the original man, and I talk that Sarah Khan talk, I see Jeff smiling. He like that Nation of Islam talk. He just told us 2 months ago he bought a final call. I suffer. I can't even. I know what's going on here.
I think we all know a little Arabic. Wa salam alaikum. We all know a little bit of that.
He done been jerked out by Sarah.
Don't worry. Don't send you to hell.
Bible. For the soul. No. What is he just texting? Hold on, God, I'm trying to read.
Brother Berea, we don't see other nationalities mentioned in the Bible, other than
the Greeks
African.
are in the Bible. Romans are in the Bible.
Okay, when did they show up?
Later, New Testament, intertestamental period later on. Persians wasn't black. Persians was in the Old Testament. It's some
The Persians were multicolored.
Hold on, let me see.
And the Persians were darker. When you look at some of the pictures of
they were not European.
They were not Europeans. Didn't come to
They were not.
Rome.
So why you keep talking about black then? You consider them black?
People of color.
They were definitely people of color, and some were African descent.
Oh, that's how you racists playing it now. I got you now. So we gonna put the white folk out the Bible. I didn't get that memo. I didn't get it. So now all the white folk got to leave the Bible, but all the other, how's the word, melanated people, you new folk like using that word, right?
They took the diversity.
That's sufficient. That would be sufficient.
Now I get it. Now I get it. I'm understanding a little bit more now.
Yeah, they took
BK, you heard what they say. Now I understand it a little differently now.
But wait a minute. If I'm correct, I think it was Macedonia was the first place.
He said the one drop rule it would be.
Macedonia was the first place that Paul went to evangelize white folk.
Yep, it was.
Is that safe to say?
Lord have mercy, God.
I mean, is that safe to say? It's a question.
Give me strength, Jesus. Give me strength, Jesus. They're trying to bring color into your holy word. They're trying to bring color into your holy book. Your book is too holy for color. Your book is too holy for this racism that's going on in here. Let me see what Progress said. Progress said, our fathers sinned against Yah only, not the heathen nations. Name the heathen nations, Progress, because you've been here 2, 3, 4 good days. Name the heathen nations, Progress. What happened when the breath of God gets breathed into it? Into who? All right, that's a side conversation.
There's a lot of sacrifice.
Africa, BK Apologist said Africa is all over the Bible. Some people say that's why they wanted to change terms and different things. But who wrote that book, The Ever-Changing Border? That borders and maps have constantly changed. A lot of people don't know before the Suez Canal. A lot of people don't know the land of Palestine were ruled by a darker hue of people for long. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that right there. But other people are saying, what difference does it make? Because it's all spiritual right now.
Man, you know what? And what's so crazy?
When they start saying, go ahead, Lord.
It's some folks just saying crazy stuff like, I've heard people say, Jesus wasn't white, nor was he black. He was a Middle Eastern. I'm like, Middle Eastern coming to the play to here recently, the past 100 years. So explain to me how Palestine was people of color and they could have possibly looked like me. Not all of a sudden, you don't want him to be black, so he got to be in the middle. I'm like, are you serious? They're so afraid. People are so afraid of Christ being black that they gonna make sure that they say, well, he don't look like us, but he definitely don't look like y'all. And I'm like, seriously, this is how we do this? And y'all know the people over there were people of color and they have been there for centuries, but now all of a sudden he isn't. So I just kind of be like, man, if he do come back and he black, man, I feel bad for a lot of folks. Because I say one thing, when we was going to church and he was white, we served him. And well, when he looked white, when they gave us the white picture, let me rephrase that. When they gave us the white photo or the picture, when we was in church, we had no problem. We served him.
No, that's one thing you did say. And then why the other path? The guy said, look in the book, Jesus is white and everybody. That was Pastor Major. Who sent me that? I'm like, Lord, in the midst of all these other emails, that was Pastor Major that sent me that right there. And he had a big circle around it. And I don't know what made that guy, but he said the pictures, but he said, Jesus is white. It's okay. Jesus is European. Pastor Major sent me that. Do me a favor, look at your email, Sister E. Read that for me right there on the thing.
So, Brother Berea, you mean to tell me you would be okay with worshiping a white Jesus?
Sister E brought up a good point. When everybody had a white, we ain't had no problem. We still loved him because we knew him according to what the apostle said. I don't know him no more after the flesh, but after the spirit. What Paul knew him as. Paul met him in the spirit. And maybe that's when you truly encounter him. Maybe that's why some people say it doesn't really make a difference. And maybe now it could be beef because they feel people are trying to push a black Christ on all of us. You see that? That's just the e-talk. Okay.
That's not even Ernestine. That's not major.
Yes, well, I just forwarded thing to you so you can read. You know, it's so small to me.
Okay. So it says we've been slaughtered through centuries through the front crown of England in 1096. That was the Holy War, murdering all the Jews in Europe who would not submit to baptism. The curse of France in 1306 destruction killed 100,000 of our people, and they were stripped of their possessions, 1348 through 1350, which carried off 1/4 of our population. The bloody hand of Germany, the plague of the Black Death in 1348 to 1350. This is our history, not the Khazar and the Jews. I hope that was clear. Where is everybody?
I'm right here.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. I was muted. That's all right. That was Dr. Ernestine. I'm going to read the last three things. The purpose of the white Jesus is to promote white theology. Or somebody else said, what about, all right, the head in his head is white. Like, no, it's past it. Somebody else said, who cares what color? This is the main thing in Christendom right now here in America. Who cares what color Jesus was? Jesus is Jesus. That comes from Bob. Bob just says that. I'm gonna give that to Sister E. Yes.
But it's not a problem in what color. The problem is they have a problem. When we saw the white picture again, and I'm gonna say it again, when we saw the white picture and the white portrait, we had no qualms with it. We didn't care what color he looked like. My mama used to
speak for yourself, because I always knew deep down inside it wasn't what he's supposed to look like.
I knew too, because I had my uncle.
Now everybody knew. Everybody knew.
But yet and still, we never had a problem. But let's talk about that one movie that they created and they made Christ black and they was ready to boycott the movie. So the problem is not us, the problem is them. They got a problem with his color.
Bob said more. No, Bob Kumsky said you sound like you got the problem with it. Everybody else, amen. Exactly, Sister E. Virtuous truth. Progress said exactly, Sister E. His beautiful truth said blonde. So if Jesus, truth hunter, so if Jesus is black, does that mean all blacks will be going to heaven regardless of faith or sanctification as a Hebrew Israelite and others think? Absolutely not. That's Berea talking. Absolutely not.
Definitely not. And again, it's not racism. We're not being racist. I mean, again, if I went to see The Passion of Christ, which I can't see it again because it was so bloody. Didn't have a problem with it. But when the man made the movie The Color of the Cross, it didn't even make mainstream. It wasn't available for people to see. It wasn't in the movie theaters. And then the little bit we heard about it was the boycott. So again, we don't have a problem with his color. We don't have a problem with his race. We don't have a problem with how he looks. He could be, from the beginning of time, he could have been white or black. We wouldn't have made a difference. But others have a problem with us putting a movie out there with a Christ that looks like a Denzel. I want to see what happens. I want somebody to have that same energy. If somebody creates a movie that Christ looks like Denzel Washington or looks like is a Morris Chestnut, something, a black man, I want to see how they're gonna act. I want them to have that same energy.
Maybe they don't. Maybe it's in your mind. Maybe they will accept a black Jesus. Maybe these younger people really don't have a problem, and it's you folk talking about it, and they really would like him. I'm getting ready to text you right now, Jeff. Go ahead.
We wouldn't have no qualms with him. We never had a qualm with an issue with him being whatever color he was. Half the churches didn't have pictures, but we went to those movies to see the white Moses. We went to the movies to see the white Christ. We went to movies to see all of Egypt being white.
And Bob says that's Bible. Ain't nobody mad at that, Bob. Bob said Jesus loves everyone, no matter if he's black or white.
Nobody's saying that. Ain't nobody said that it has to be a color. We're talking about the other side of the fence, that if Christ has no color and they don't want to talk about it, I want them to take every single movie off the shelf. I want them to change every single book where there is no picture of him. Because when you look at all the pictures, all the movies, everything, every single photo of people in the Bible in general, and not just Christ, every character is white. So give me a movie with Moses. I think I've seen one movie, and the one person they made black was the one that had an issue with women, and that was Samson. And that's the only black character I've ever seen. But that's not it's not us. It's them. It's really not us. Because when you look at it, we've sat through movies where the characters was white. And crazy thing is, Egypt was white. I can't get past that. Majority of the movies, Egypt was white. So.
But where do we go? I mean, we find out over time, because there was a time we didn't know any better, that Jesus is non-European. We know that as a fact now. Regardless of what other argument comes after that, where do we go from here? Do we mention that in any dialogue in the church? Where do we go from here? For those that care to hear about that kind of dialogue, how far in depth do we go into it with? Do we stop here in this conversation and move forward now that we know the truth? So we'll have a better understanding. Now that we have a better understanding, or what do we do with this information that we have?
Yeah, and let me say something.
A lot of people got a problem with it.
Yeah, and let me say something too. Bob said religion has nothing to do with race. True spirituality don't have anything to do with race. But right now we're living in a time, and that's like a lot of people say, you black folk got problems. Every time when we deal with urban apologetics. Thank you, Jeff. That's why I'm on here, to be honest. Well, all right, you see what that thing said. But every time, Sister E, it's a lot of these black people online that got a problem with the Bible and skin color and slavery and salvation and Jesus and Hebrews and all this race stuff. It's a lot of black people that got a problem with white people in the Bible and spirituality. Are they rightfully doing this, or is it because their hearts are dark and wicked and they don't want to forgive white folk for slavery? Is it because of sin? All these people can't be talking about race out here except the dark black hearts and the dark wicked black hearts that are looking for somebody to blame. A lot of black people out here talk about race when it comes to the Bible, and it's harder and harder and harder for church people to witness. More and more black people are walking away from the church because of African spirituality, because there's a whole confusion with Hebrew Israelites and blacks being chosen, Europeans trying to steal identity and all of that stuff. Our numbers are down in the church. It's Berean talking. Anybody don't like it, they can say they don't like it. Our numbers are down. And why is that? A lot of this has to do with race. And what's so crazy, other people would say, well, our numbers wasn't down in the 60s. Our churches were packed in the 70s. All right, I'm going to get this to y'all. I'm going to get that to y'all right there, because a lot of people get upset when you're talking about race and spirituality, because they say God, spirituality, black people dream, demons attack black people, Asian people. God is a spirit. We understand that. Us people that's really saved, we understand that. And they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. But because of sin, because of a sin nature, because of slavery, because of other things, and slavery existed before that, we got a good history. We got a good understanding of history. Slavery existed before that, way before that in the Bible, before it was a skin thing. We know that race is a social construct. We know all of that stuff, but whatever it is, there's a lot of people talking about it and dealing with it right now.
But when you look at it, the construct of race they used it in the Bible. You know, they had a myth in the Bible, them being the elite. They had a myth in the Bible that we were cursed because of the curse of Ham. We never, I mean, come on now. Race was never something that we never made it as if they started the curses. You get what I'm saying? We never started.
But they did start it, but now they say put it down, and you don't want to put it down.
But the thing is, now you don't want to put it down. Now you want to stop. Now you want to say, oh, we sorry. We slapped our own hands. We ain't going to do it no more. Now let's stop talking about it. No, the thing is, we're not having real conversations with how the Bible was misused, because to put us in slavery, the Bible is true, but they abuse it for their advantage. Now everybody wants us to shut up, let it go. We're not going to talk about it, but we're seeing the ramifications of this. We're seeing people reject the Bible because y'all misused and abused it to do whatever you wanted to do. And now people are leaving the church because they don't even understand if the Bible is true, because y'all have misused it. So I think the church needs to have real dialogue to say, look, this is what it is. But some churches don't even want to talk about that.
Listen, Jeff, Progress said y'all will settle the matter when he comes back. Until then, what do you do, Progress? Leave it alone? Live a separate from them, from that different nation? What do you do until then? That's what Jeff was asking. Progress, you heard that, Sister E? I want y'all to hear this. I'm going to read the rest, but he said, y'all will settle the matter when he comes back. That's what Progress said. But until then, what do we do? Put it down, let it go, let it ride out? What do we do?
What do we do about those empty pews that's in the church?
I hate him. To get them filled back up? Those people are lost. There's nothing we can do.
Or how do we reach those that are lost? If they ain't trying to go to the church to hear some things that may help them spiritually.
That's a good question. Do you take the church to the streets? Is the church played out? This is something that we might have to face. Is the church played out?
I don't think the church is played out. You know, I live in.
I shouldn't even said that.
You know what I like about Berea TV? This is what I love about Berea TV. We'll sit here and we'll have anywhere between 50 and 100 viewers that's currently dialoguing or watching what we're doing right now. And by the time we log off, maybe an hour or two later, the numbers double and sometimes triple.
Yes.
But by the next day, we have nearly right at 1,000 viewers. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see those numbers in church. I don't see those numbers. And we ain't talking about the number of times that people go back and watch the videos, maybe twice or 3 times, whatever they feel is necessary to do, or share with other individuals. I say I think that's really good sound way of spreading the word. I don't know about how you guys feel about that, but I believe that we should continue on doing stuff like this. But also, we still need to do what was, fill the sanctuary up. I don't see a problem with that. Encourage others that don't go to church, go to church. If nothing else, just go fellowship. You may get word, you may get substance in forums like this, in platforms like this, but going to church and fellowshipping is a good thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. So
Maybe
that's what I
God,
say.
maybe that's good. I like that. Maybe God knew in his foreknowledge. Even in Islam, we laugh at them. They don't even want a picture of the Prophet Muhammad. Mr. Blacktastic said white Jesus gave white people a superiority complex and was intended to make black folk look at themselves as inferior. I want to park right there for a minute because somebody said yesterday, it wasn't boom. I don't know who that was, Progress. I'm not sure who it was. Somebody said iconography is powerful. Signs and symbols and pictures and images are powerful. I don't know who brought that white Jesus, but whoever they did, they took this thing to the next level. That white Jesus took it to the next level, and it just happened to come in time. They got some ships, they getting their money up, and the Portuguese, they running amok. They done robbed up them Jews, and they done went crazy, and the slave trade began. They started running around here saying they looking for spices. They ran into the Indians, and everything was just a perfect storm. And the white Jesus was arranged for that, and was just a perfect storm. Everything that came together, and it just tend to happen like that. But now that, like you said, now that it's like that, what do we do? Like she said, do we just say, oh, don't worry about that picture right now, just leave the picture alone? Just get rid of all the books? Do we do like Hollywood and try to make an Asian Jesus for Asian people? And do we try to do that? Do we try to, how do we backpedal a thing now? Or just tell everybody, shut up, stop your clock, stop your crying, and just pull yourself up by your bootstrap and you can make it. Or
I would say
racism, or because of all of this stuff, a lot of y'all don't know y'all really need the secret society. KKK was a secret order, and they had signs and symbols and handshakes, and they would beat everybody from the clerk to the state trooper to the correction officer, and they all rode together because they were a secret society. Do we need the secret society to move forward? I'm a believer, I'm a nice pastor, but on the low, I'm hiring nothing but blacks. I'm not dealing with them folk because this thing got to turn around. That's how the white Christian Klan organization moved forward. Besides terrorizing people, they stuck together as a people, as a secret society. I'm just putting this out there.
But I think that the picture of Black Christ is the picture itself, not Christ, but the picture. It goes deeper than that because the root of the issue is racism. People need to get racism, which is hate, which is one of the commandments that Christ gave us, and to not hate our brother. That's the root of the problem. It doesn't matter if they changed the picture to black. If they made every single picture in every church that they had of Christ or depiction of Christ black in every church, you still have a problem. The root of the issue is racism and hate.
Now, all right, somebody would go even further and say the root of the problem is sin. Why would you speak to sin? Why would you tell a pig, get up out of that, I'm gonna clean you up, put a suit on you and a bow tie, and you know the pig gonna go right back in it? That's what pigs do. Pigs like, so that's why some people would argue that sin is sin, and y'all are talking about a sin issue, trying to work on a sin issue for folk that ain't, but the hurtful thing is a lot of these people claim they're Christians.
Again, it goes back into that thing, the sin of racism. The sin of racism is gonna always be that one thing because if I loved my brother and I didn't care what color he was, and I'm gonna go back to my original statement. If a new director came out, let's say, what's the black dude that's been making all these movies? Um, that's been making all these scary movies. I can't remember his name. If he decided to create a movie and decide to say, you know what, I'm gonna make a Black Christ. Um, how would they react? Again, I still go. I can't watch Passion of Christ now, but I mean, when I watched it, I didn't look at his color. I looked at who he was. I looked at him as my savior. So
why you can't watch it now, though, sis?
God, thank you,
it's too
God.
bloody. That's why I can't watch it. It's too bloody. Have you seen the Passion of Christ?
It is a lot of blood. It's real. It's a lot of blood.
It's real bloody. That's why I can't watch it. It ain't because of the color. It's about the gore. I mean, it's real gory. So I can't watch it that much anymore. But I mean, it's the root of the issue again is racism. People don't want to look at the sin of this nation and other nations and what they did to a group of individuals. Yep, shake your head, Berin, because I know you're about to go there. But I mean, the sin of a nation, the sin of the nation, it requires repentance. That's when I think we could heal from racism and people can be like, I don't care what color he is in a movie, he's still my savior.
So you call in, wait a minute, hey, Barely, wait a minute. So you calling white America to repent? Who you calling repent? White folk?
I think anything dealing with racism, yes. Anybody that has a racist heart that doesn't love their neighbor, and that even goes for the Black community.
Okay.
If I have hate in my heart, I need to get rid of the seed of hate. Because if I call myself an Israelite and I don't show my white brothers and sisters love, then I'm not being what I'm supposed to be.
Bob said you sound racist. And stupid.
Oh wow, that's good, boy.
That's how they do it. And yo, that's how they do it, Jeff. That's how they flip it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he calling Sister E racist, I know he's calling me that.
Oh, forget it. Oh, forget it. You the head of the Black Mafia.
Oh,
you the head of
goodness.
BNF.
No, you know what? I'm gonna keep it real simple. I really love my Black folks. I love them deeply. I favor them. I really do. But the favor has nothing to do with the fact that I hate somebody else or I'm biased towards. No, I think we're deserving. I think we are deserving of good treatment, quality treatment, respect, honor, privilege, all the whole 9 yards. I believe that we have gotten the short end of the stick. My way of fixing some of that is to cater to people that look like me.
Mm-hmm.
Treat them good. Is he not a Christian for that? That's a fair question. Bob, is he not a Christian for that? To try to help his people come up? White Christians been doing it. That's where he learned it from, probably. Mike Shaw said everybody wants everybody just to love, and that's not prophecy. That's Bible there. Christ said to love, but he knew that them other folk wasn't going to love. He knew that there was some folk, and like the other guy said, God raised up other nations to check his chosen one because they wanted to do what they wanted to do. I don't understand a Christian KKK when they know the Bible is a minority book. That was somebody. All right, I'm sorry. That could be a side conversation. But go ahead. I want to see what Bob got to say about that because I think Jeff learned that attitude. Look out for your own people from white folk. Yep, and he ain't said hold and he ain't said kill white folk. He just feel the best thing to do is look out for your own people.
No, I've been like that all my entire life. It's just now where I am now in life. I don't try to hold back from it. I don't try to hide it. This is who I am. I accept who I am. I love my folks deeply, and I'm going to continue to love my folks deeply.
Do you think Judgment Day God is going to question you about loving Black people?
Oh, absolutely not. I love everybody, but I love us more. I love us more.
Oh, Lord, why I got him on this channel talking like this?
I love us more. I love us more. I love everybody.
Yeah, we're white, and I'm white probably on the day.
Oh, yeah.
Lord have mercy. Who agree with that? Who
love
agree with that?
Everybody.
I love everybody, but I can't love. That's just like my family. This is my family. We are family based off of our genetics. We're family.
Hey, yo, Bailey, this ain't Jesus talk no more. Bailey, is this Jesus talk, Bailey? Where Bailey at? Bailey, I got to talk to you about these two on the side on the show whilst we live. I usually wait till we get off before I hit you, but I'm going to hit you right now because they talking reckless. Pastor Johnson. Oh, I know you a racist. Let me see. No, let me ask, Pastor Johnson. Pastor Johnson, do you agree? Type in what? Do you agree with what you're hearing in here, Pastor Johnson? Do you love Israelites, Pastor Johnson, more than you love white evangelicals like John Hagee?
You trying to get somebody to side with you?
I'm saying names. I want to hear from Pastor Johnson, and I want to hear from Tally, because some of you, I hope y'all hearts are right before when you stand before the King. I don't know if I want to stand before my Savior. Man. And tell him, I don't know if I want to, I don't know Mike Shaw. Because Mike Shaw is trying to say that ain't even Bible to love everybody.
To love everybody? Well, he might.
No, Jesus told his people to love everybody, but he might not have expected them, other folk, to love.
Pastor Johnson said, love all saints equally.
Oh, saints. That's how that's slick talk. That's slick talk right there.
Yeah.
What about Donald Trump ain't a saint?
Yeah, what he's saying,
Pastor Johnson.
What he's saying is, I'm not supposed to love anybody outside of saints more than saints.
Outside of the people, thank you. Outside of the people of God. What do we mean when we say that? By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, that ye have love one for another. Is that me loving Jeff, loving Sister E, loving Bob, loving the people that believe on Messiah? Or is that loving atheists, that's loving everybody? What that verse mean, Dr. Ernestine? Come on, Joe Progress. Well, what that verse mean right there? Love everybody? Because some of y'all don't sound like y'all love them. Y'all like y'all love some of them other folk, that white cop that pull you over that's a racist, that want to just waste your time, especially when you tell him hurry up and write the speeding ticket and he slow down more to make you really late for work. Y'all don't sound like y'all love him too much. That lying police officer talking about he gonna bring the dog because he smell weed and he know he don't smell nothing. That devil, he know what he doing. Y'all don't sound like y'all love him too much.
Brother Berean, I could have.
Oh wow, the chat said that's just disciple to disciple. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. I thought that was everybody. I thought that was the Roman soldiers too. I thought that was the wicked racist cop. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to cut y'all off.
What you gonna say, Sister?
No, I said more white. He said more white. This is what Bob said. More white people die from cops than blacks. True.
Hey, there's more white folk in this country. There's more white folk in this country. I can believe that. That's okay. But there's enough of y'all. Shut up.
Man, for real? I'm not even gonna address that. I'm not.
No, look, no, I'm not gonna lie. Cops shoot a lot of white folk too. That's how I'm saying times have changed. Cops out here shooting white folk too.
They are. But
yes, they are. I ain't gonna deny that.
Not in my neighborhood.
Not in your neighborhood?
Not in my neighborhood. White folks don't get stopped.
White folk don't even get stopped. Love everyone equally, but we walk in unity with the saints. Okay. He said, I bet those white cops, Dice said, I bet those white cops that kill white people go to jail. You see that Ethiopian cop, that lady scared him and he shot across his partner and hit her. You see he bitten. Ethiopian cop, they talk about, oh, he a Muslim, he this and he that. I'm gonna tell y'all what, all these cops are scary right now. Y'all see they done killed the white man, I think he was white. They done killed the UPS driver, he's Spanish, and they killed the 2 black robbers. These old scary cops just letting their guns go. I think they shot up the UPS trucks 200 times. Shooting from behind parked civilian cars on the house. These cops are scary. They scary. Maybe this is just the time we living in. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
And the thing is, Bob is looking at things from a white perspective.
Oh, you think Bob is white?
He said he's white. Bob said he's white.
Bob said that's our Bob. Which Bob is that?
No, that ain't our Bob.
That's another Bob. All white people named Bob. Father, God help us all. Go ahead. Read what Bob said.
I am white, and a white cop came to my door acting like he smelled weed. He's looking at things from a white lens. That movie I saw on Netflix, I think it's called The American Son.
The American, yes, a good movie. Excellent. If y'all didn't see it, excellent movie.
Man, that's an awesome movie. But the movie allowed you to see that sometimes they just don't understand what it means to be black. Bob can't understand what it means to be black. And I respect that. But don't take away from my experience because you don't understand.
Okay.
And that's what a white America got to understand. Okay. Because you don't walk in my skin every day. You don't go into an Asian store to go get some hair products and they following your daughter around the store because they think she's gonna steal. You cannot tell me what it means to be black. So when Bob says things like that, he's looking at things from a white lens. Be us for 1 month, and I promise you, you ain't gonna want to be there no more. But
let me say something to you right now, Jeff. And this is, I ain't see Sister E in a minute. I talked to you like 3 days ago. This is where the beef gonna come in with us right now. But black young kids, your daughter age, y'all do steal weave and run out the store with that expensive weave. If I was a store owner, I'd be watching y'all too. More black people steal weave than white folks.
Wait a minute, Brother Berean.
No. I got to park right there. More black people steal weave than white folks steal weave. So is that wrong? Because those are statistical facts. I know more black people steal weave than white folks.
White people don't steal weave.
What do we do with what do we do with that then, Sister E? Are you mad that they watching your daughter?
Yeah, man.
A lot of Asians sell weed and a lot of black girls steal weed. Come on, Jeff. Now jump on it.
Well, I'm gonna say it like this. They keep all the good stuff behind the counter.
They sure do, but we jumping. You seen the other girl on YouTube spray the people and jump behind the counter and took it? Not for that Brazilian. What they call that other good stuff?
That Brazilian or Indian hair or whatever. I don't know.
Sister E act like she don't know. Do me a favor, LeChat. What's that good weave that they got down there? What's the name of that good weave?
I know what that good.
Remy, what's the name of that good weave? I want that expensive weave.
That good
Well,
Brazilian.
all right, $100 an ounce.
Yeah,
They selling it like they selling work. These girls running down front. They want it. They got their girlfriend parked outside. Come on, let's keep it 100.
Truth be told, I got some in the closet now. I need to put. I want to.
No, you don't. Show and proof. Pull it out.
Nah, I go pull it out right now.
Talking?
That Brazilian lasts for a good year.
Why you think it's worth that money, Jeff? Jeff, why do we bring? Where she
well, wait a minute. Where you get it from?
Oh.
I bought mine from a black vendor. I have a black vendor that I deal with, and she
that sell Remy, that sell Brazilian.
The Brazilian. She said she
support the black shops.
Yep.
I bear with you, Lexi and them support. I bear witness with that. I bear witness with that. I like that. I can't lie because somebody else starts saying, Berean, we got to make less and less women stop fighting with these Asians, getting their nails done and not wanting to pay, and Asians disrespecting them. Cops come in, fighting all on YouTube. The other girl try to run the Asian lady over. I'm like, Lord God, listen, we all got a problem and it's called sin. We all got a problem and it's called sin. You hear me right now? I'm telling y'all the truth. Come on, y'all got anything before we anything?
Sister E, you might want to, for those that don't know, you have a channel. You might want to put your information.
And what you've been doing and what's been going on with you.
Yeah,
after you started all that. But then I said, listen, that's how 50 Cent got on. He had the mixtape out, How to Rob the Industry. He had busting everybody mad, Jay-Z, everybody mad at him, but he got on the map like that. We see you over 200 subscribers in no time because you done went up here and turned out the whole urban apologetic community. Done got everybody in an uproar, and now you over there chilling with hundreds of subscribers, just acting like everything is good. Come on, tell them your email so we can send some hate mail. I'm gonna send all the urban. Y'all hear me, Billy? Y'all hear me, Big Care Apologists? Y'all got to get some other names and go over there and send us some hate messages.
I gladly give my email address.
Thank you.
The hate messages.
And what you been doing besides what you been doing? What you got planned? What you got coming up?
Okay, right now, I'm trying to type and talk at the same time.
Oh, okay, no, go ahead, Jeff. You can talk while she.
Yeah, because you know, Pastor Johnson is ready for you to come on now, and we still got to get Rob Moses on this line here.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. No matter, I touched a little bit.
Yes.
No, Yolanda. Ever since y'all started crying, I ain't want the women's feminist movement to come after me. So I've been stopped muting Sister E. But you see what happened, Yolanda? Less than 7 days after you said stop muting Sister E, she done got here and ran amok and drove them folk crazy. Who she drove crazy? All of them. Now, I'm not saying them folk wasn't crazy. She done brought Faithful and them craziness out. Everybody. We done wild out and had G-Man on here, then got other folk now. They just like, Lord. But some people, even pastors hit me, Berean, who are them fools you done had on there? I said, y'all don't know such and such. I'm just trying to expose a few people. They said, Berean, you doing too much. You doing too much.
But
Yolanda, a lot has happened since then. It's been a lot of talk and a lot of good stuff. I told y'all she popped back through whenever she got time. She gonna jump in here, and she's putting her information in there right now. But we waiting for her to tell us what interview, what main stuff you got coming up.
Well, I did a quick hello to everybody on yesterday because I wanted to thank everybody for subscribing to my channel. Some things that I got working right now is I'm working with Tayu. We're gonna do something, a collaborative thing together. It's gonna be nice. I'm reaching out to different people in the Hebrew community. Also, I reached out to BJ about a month ago. I wanted BJ to do something speaking on his point on Calvinism and actually.
Oh yeah, BJ got a lot going on right now. Praise him. He got a lot going on, but he might be able to jump on. He just hit us yesterday.
I saw that, but to do something, have a Calvinist on there. Have BJ to do some stuff. So I'm actually reworking my lineup because, like I said, I've been sick for the past couple of weeks, and this is the first time I've gotten enough energy to be able to start back working on stuff. But I did.
Oh, Major ain't coming back on here right now. Y'all just see what he said. I ain't gonna even read that. Y'all see what Major just said? This is why we gonna pull his honorary member card and send him over there with Sister E. They said, what happened now? Y'all going y'all separate ways? Is Israel and the church? We thought this was the only hope that the Israelites and the Christians can be together and build. I said, we still building, everybody building. We building, sometimes stuff get rough in the middle of building. If you ever did construction, the stuff get rough before it gets to looking real nice, and sometimes it gets to looking real sloppy. But it's coming together. So you, besides that, you're gonna do some individual teachings, or you're gonna spend the rest of the year with interviews and lining stuff up for next year.
It's gonna be interviews. I'm even invite y'all on the show.
So, you heard that? Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that?
You go. Wait a minute. You gonna invite me on the show?
You heard that, Dr. Ernestine? You heard that, Yolanda? She said, Brother Thomas.
I'm gonna be a star.
Back from, well, let me see. I don't know. Is he in here? If White, you in here?
No, he's not in. No.
Oh yeah, because I know he probably out. Oh,
he's sweetheart.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I figured he hanging out with his baby mama, enjoying themselves. That's good.
Baby mama wife.
Yeah, baby mama / wife. Well, listen, for us, it got to be all the same thing. We got no time for no scandal. Got to be baby mama / wife / girlfriend.
Oh yeah, I can't forget about Father G. He gonna be on too. He's actually, I'm gonna make Father G one of my moderators when we have a conversation, because he.
You see that? You see that?
Oh.
You see that? Yo, you see that? You see how them Israelites get with them Catholics? I know the Catholic Church started the Israelite movement. I know they did. I know the devil was behind it somewhere. Now I can go run and tell them urban apologists I found the source.
Father G.
So how was that conversation that you had with Tayu? How did that go?
That went really good. I have been following Tayu for, I want to say, since after Pastor Darby passed away. And I ran across their channel. And Pastor Darby been gone for like, I want to say, how long has Pastor Darby?
It gotta be two. It gotta be two. Yeah. Maybe more. Yeah, it gotta be at least 2 years, right?
Yeah. So I've been following them for a while. And I love some of their teachings. And I still kind of keep track of some of the teachings that they had. And I think one particular moment they did a teaching that I kind of wanted to talk to them about. And I reached out to them by email. And then when I reached out to them by email, they reached out to me and we all connected. So we have been kind of dealing with each other now for almost, I want to say almost a year. These guys are very well learned. They are ordained ministers. And I just like their perspective and the things, how they explain things. And they try to ensure that people don't get caught up into the flesh through the law. They try to make sure that people learn and understand the importance of Christ and grace. So those brothers are really good. They're humble guys, very humble guys. Do we always see eye to eye when I talk to them? No, because we had a conversation a couple of days ago about the Bible that me and Yaakov talked for about 30 minutes about it, and it didn't stop. But we came to the realization that, we ain't got to 100% agree on everything, but we can build and work together. So these guys have been kind of sitting quiet for a minute. And I think now they've been saying they get messages from everybody saying be on their show. I said, welcome to the world of YouTube outside of Tayu. So they have a lot of
Pastor Majors, you ain't lying. That just went through my mind. Sister E stealing members. Sister E over there stealing
members.
Yeah,
I saw that.
You talk to faithful of God? You talk to anybody else, Sister E?
I don't think the apologetic community likes me.
They're totally done with you. At least you had a chance when you was over here. They totally done with you?
I have not talked to any of my apologetic peers. I
thought y'all were friends by now.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, after you fight over Crayolas, you're supposed to be friends.
Somebody said Pastor, that was Pastor Darby. It's 2 years this month. Yep. Pastor Darby's the only person. I saw a video with him the other day, 617,000 views. Yep. He's the only person that have not been on TBN or Daystar, the Word channel, that got views in the hundreds of thousands like that. Yep. That should let people know right there was something that he was saying that people consider relevant, that he got straight off of social media. That's a lot of views, not to be no large camp or anything like that, for just a regular Hebrew teacher, pastor that's a teacher. That's crazy right there. All right, anything else, Jeff?
But the thing
I'm sorry, go ahead, I cut you off.
That's all I was saying was, the thing is, Pastor Darby is the reason why people like me and others think like me, because Pastor Darby caught a lot of us when we started going into this with his teachings. before some people stepped into camps, because people were they didn't know where to go. They didn't know who to watch. The only thing you could find on YouTube was IUIC, and nobody wanted to watch them. But when Pastor Darby surfaced, is where people like me could say, okay, I can listen to him. He makes sense. He's making these things add up to us, rather than that he didn't preach hate. He taught deliverance. Uh, hey, my dog is upset. He taught deliverance. He taught things like that. So a lot of us kind of cling to Darby because of that.
Okay. So my question is this: where are you going from now? Are you like, I guess, are you going to build primarily one type of audience, or what are you going to do?
I mean, I'm gonna build all types. I'm gonna have, and that's one thing I said yesterday. I'm gonna have if anybody from the Kemetic community want to come on, if people from the Israelite community want to come on, the apologetic community, Calvinist, whoever want to come on and just have a conversation, and we'll have other people on the panel to have dialogue. Everybody got to get out their feelings and be willing to have real dialogue rather than hollering and screaming. Because I said that if we start arguing and getting ugly, I'm gonna boot you off the Zoom. So I mean, it's just gonna be just it'll be a subject. I may put up a subject, like I was gonna talk to Mr. Blacktastic on what he did here recently, and it was just gonna be me and him kind of having a recap of what the conversation is. So it'll be similar to how Berea does stuff. He just has a subject, he'll throw it out there, and then all of us kind of speak on it. But it'll be guest.
Somebody said, that was Bob, I think, said, what type of dog you have?
I have a
You got a beagle mix?
No, I got a collie shepherd. She's a shepherd mixed with a little collie, so she's a big dog.
Oh, we only have about 8 people with thumbs up. So can you all give us thumbs up on this video? The thumbs up are very low. We have about 61 that's currently viewing this particular conversation. And if you have not subscribed to Berea TV, please subscribe to Berea TV and tap on the bell so you can get notifications when he go online. Also, if you look in the link, you'll see a PayPal/Patreon link, and that'll get you access to some special conversations that take place after we go off live. It's some good stuff that you guys be missing out on, and we'll be doing some. We actually started last Sunday on some teaching, and we're going to be doing that every Sunday from this point forward with Sunday seminary.
Somebody said they about to, that's Bob said he about to get a Boston Terrier. Mr. Blacktastic, that's Sister E. I'm not coming on your platform if I can't do a 15-minute washboard solo, praise dance, pop. Lord, I'm done. Blacktastic getting ready to get out of here right now. All right, anything else? Major, anybody else?
Blacktastic, you need to give me a call.
So what Pastor Johnson said? No address, the question. What he said? Pastor Johnson, it was racism when the Roman Catholic changed the black Jesus to a white Jesus. I ain't afraid to address it. Yes, it was racism. Yeah, no. Yeah, that was racism. Oh, of course that was built on that. But when they started in the Renaissance period, they wanted everything beautiful or everything Roman. So they started writing, at the high time with the scriptures, they started making God, Abraham, Adam and Eve white and stuff like that. That was predominantly for Europe, for Europeans, for Europe. When Rome was doing, what they were doing. I'm not mad at them, but they just took it to a whole nother level. And then when they wanted to justify, because remember, when slavery started, everybody they wanted into it. But then the Catholic Church, what's the name of that Catholic priest? He was like, when the white indentured servants from Europe, they got over here and they started escaping and they were blending in with the other white people. Because there was plenty of white people over here that didn't have slaves either. So indentured servants were escaping and blended in with the white people, Indians falling out in the hot sun. That Catholic priest, a Monsignor from the Catholic Church, he said, oh, I know where to get some strong folk from. And they loved the sun. The Catholics did that. And that's when the turn came to solely, and it slowly kind of started turning to solely getting black people. They're good in the sun. If they escape, they can stand out because they're not bringing free blacks over here. So if you walking down the street and you black, they automatically know you're a slave and you ran away from somewhere. We could thank the Catholic Church for all of that stuff right there. We can definitely thank them for that. And that can't even get anybody mad because that's just historical facts. That's just what it is. And then as time went on, it was like, listen, we're not even dealing with indentured servants, white slaves anymore. We're strictly, there's plenty black people over there, and we can get them all. They're over there warring. We're going to take them rum. We're going to take them guns. And the show got to jumping. And just all of Europe got on the bandwagon with it. And, it just so happened they had Prince Henry, the navigator. They had his maps. They started running amok. They got some direction from some Moors, and they came over here and they just went crazy. And to what we call the Americas, South America, Brazil, Dominican Republic, Haiti, all of that other good stuff. And they just started doing what they're doing. We'll pick up on some more of that tomorrow. I think we're going to go on. We'll get more in depth with it because everybody else in here, they all Patreon. So we'll go on with our Patreon class and all that other stuff. All right, it's Sister Ian Closer. Would you like to say anything? It's good to see you. It's good that you come on here with no hollering, no fighting, no division. You come on like a regular old believer in the Lord. You still love the Lord, right?
Yes, I do. Don't come for me.
All right.
You're trying to come for me. See, y'all, I'm trying to be nice.
All right, show us you love him and pray. And pray in Jesus' name, too. And pray in the name that's above every name. Pray and act like you love the J. We don't trust her no more now. She done been over there with them, and then I say, y'all can see what you want. You say to bring somebody else send me a video. They hate. You see, so he got these Negroes over there hating, and then the person was praying. I listened to the whole video, and the end, the person did end up praying in Jesus' name. I said, well, they closed the prayer in Jesus' name. They said, that's all you got to say? You started this. Then I just texted Sister E. I said, see, you started this. Whatever they say to me, I just forward it to her. You started this.
I did not start this.
Sister E, let's not fight. Let's not fight. You got on here. Let me. White, come get your girl. Black pastor, come get your girl. Because y'all say y'all still like her. Y'all better come and get her and save her right now. Because she's a troublemaker. She's back. And Yolanda in here. I don't want to look like the one that's going to be muting her. Would you like to let the Lord use you? Would you like to close this out?
Don't ignore me. You know you love me. Whatever.
Oh, of course. No, that ain't gonna stop nothing. That's why I told them. They said, cut her off and make videos and speak against her spirit, that wicked spirit that's on her. I said, but I love her. She's nice. You better cut that foolishness. You standing up for Jesus.
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
I said, they said what? They said, you standing for Jesus or you standing for Israel? I said, why can't I stand? I said, why ain't I standing for Jesus and Israel? Altogether, it's got to be the same thing. They hung up the phone on me. I'm done. My career is over. This is just what it is what it is. And y'all put $1 in the thing, buy Berea some ice cream. He over here crying. It's over. All right, Jeff, you got anything before we get out of here?
No. Subscribe to Berea TV. Support the TV.
We joke and laugh, but we got some good content. We got some stuff coming up for y'all. We appreciate y'all. Okay, if Sister E is good, I don't mind closing out. I still use Jesus' name. I still love him. You want to use his name?
Yeah, I can use his name. I can use his name.
Thank you. Come on, sis. All hearts and minds.
Right. Heavenly Father, first we want to thank you again for another opportunity, God, for us to come and build. God, we ask that everybody learns from what we've been talking about and understand that everything we've been doing, we want people to learn to love as your son instructed us to love one another, God. As we grow, as we go through our days, God, let them see the light of your son, Jesus Christ, on us, God, so that we can be a light and tell them about your son. Let people be drawn to the Jesus that's in us, God, and not the flesh, God. God, help us grow and let us grow together and become one in your son. In Jesus Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen. Y'all use Jesus' name. I know somebody gonna email and say that don't mean nothing. The devil uses Jesus' name. There's no winning with them. There's no winning with them. This is just what